Oh, it's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch.
Hey y'all, welcome and happy Tuesday. It's your boy Chris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered, the show we basically talk about all things going on in celebrity news, gossip, hot topics, all that good stuff. So, if that's a show for you, definitely stick around because we have a lot of tea to spill today, including some stuff coming about this Diddy trial. There was some breaking news that one of the the charges that the jury is hung up on because they're deliberating right now. So they've been deliberating since yesterday. So we'll get into that. Plus, I thought we'd play a little game because the Megan 2.0 was not doing well at the box office. So Variety did a 5 reasons why the sequel didn't match the original's box office success, and I got my overall thoughts on that. Plus, we talked a little bit yesterday about Vin Diesel and him bringing Brian O'Connor back from the dead in real life to be, but his character didn't get killed off on the Fast and the Furious movies, and I didn't get into what the people was saying about it. So we're going to talk about fan opinions. Some people was okay with it. A lot of people was like, no, please don't, because the man's dead and it's disrespectful, all the other stuff. So we'll get into that. Plus, we have the story coming out, and Adria Arjona, that is a name that I've been throwing around a lot in regards to Wonder Woman. So James Gunn, of course, has heard our cries, and he's addressing it because a lot of the fans think that Adria is going to be our new Wonder Woman. So we'll talk about that. Plus, we have news on an actor I actually like, who has gotten the role of M. Bison in the upcoming Street Fighter movie. So we're going to talk about that. Plus, Vylan is speaking out about the Glastonbury outrage, which is basically everything that he's saying in his latest talks about it. Is what I was saying in my video yesterday that y'all could watch separately in like a little thing. I did cut it up and put it up on the channel, so y'all could definitely check that out. Plus, we got to talk about Drake and them fake abs because he is getting clowned for them. Rosie O'Donnell is going in on Jeff Bezos and that fake fembot he done married, Lauren Sánchez. Some country music star I never heard of apparently needs a moment, so we're going to give it to him. Somebody named Gavin Adcock basically said that he's coming for Beyonce's F&A and saying that what her music, Cowboy Carter, is not a real country album or something. So the racist started coming out with his mess. So we're going to talk about that. Plus, we got a loss for Jay-Z in regards of his extortion and defamation suit against Tony Buzbee. So we got some not so good news on that part. Remy Ma out here about to fight the daughter of the man her son killed in front of the damn courthouse. Talk about ghetto. Kim Zolciak's daughter is opening up about the fact that she pays her mother's bills and supports her siblings with her money. So we got to talk about that. Plus, we got some drag race drama, and that would be Naysha Lopez clapping back at Vylan and got Mick because of some of the stuff they said over there at Roscoe's about the Roscoe's and all the stuff. Plus, we have to talk about this rumored, and I'll say rumored, but y'all know that it's the actual cast. But we'll entertain it until the time comes when we get the official cast. But 9 times out of 10, when it comes to the Reddit sleuths and all this other stuff, the people that end up being on the list of who's a part of the situation is on the situation. So season 11, well, All Stars 11, the cast is already leaked, and we're not even done with All Stars 10. So we're gonna get into that and a whole lot more. But before we do, if you could please do me a solid, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Also, be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. I'll also be putting in timestamps later on in the show, so that way once the live stream is done, you can just follow along with the topics instead of just having to sit through all the banter that I do during the live chat when everybody starts to come in and watch the show. All right, so thank you, and love you all for supporting this mess of a show. So anyway, in the meantime, let's get into, wait, hold on. I got to hit my banner before I do anything else, because that's always the main thing. So we got to hit the banner. And now let's get into this trial update regarding the diddler. So as I was putting the show together, because today was a mess. Like, I've been literally trying to put this show together all day, and I'm looking at something like, where the hell did the time go? Like, it's already 6 o'clock in New York City. It's raining. It's humid. It's gross. It is what it is. But it's probably due to the fact that, that big bullshit bill was passed by J.D. Vance being the majority vote or breaking the tie. But that's a whole nother conversation we can get into later on. But nevertheless, you already know Diddy's on trial. Right now, I think it's been 6 weeks. That 6 weeks went by relatively quick. But now they're deliberating. And word on the curb is that they're having a hard time. They've kind of been unanimous with a lot of the charters except one of them. So I said, you know what? Let me just pull this up so that way y'all can see it. Let me actually take that out so y'all can see the literal charters and all that other stuff. So shout out to the Radar Online because they said that the Sean Diddy Combs trial has been thrown into chaos. After jurors announced they have reached a verdict on 4 of the 5 counts against the rapper and disgraced mogul, but seems to be stuck on the main charge of racketeering. The jury has gone home for the day and will begin deliberations again on tomorrow morning, which would be Wednesday. So Combs reached a verdict on the 2 counts of each. It says jurors reached a verdict on the 2 counts each of trafficking and transportation to engage in prostitution that Combs faces, but had not been able to reach a verdict on racketeering conspiracy. Well, me looking at this, I kind of felt that he would get charged for the sex trafficking because that's literally what this case was trying to prove. That with the force, the fraud, the coercion, all the stuff between the sex workers and then Cassie being one of his main sex workers, that's supposed to be a girl, but you was treating her like a prostitute. The transportation, that would be like crossing state lines to engage in sex work and all the other stuff, which is kind of like what you would usually in girl ass. Cassie thinking she in a whole relationship with you, but you was basically, like I said, treating her like a prostitute. The sex trafficking about force, fraud, and coercion, it was sort of like, yeah, you holding people's careers over their head, you threatening them, the violence, all of that stuff that the attorneys was pouncing in the courtroom and bringing up consistently. I could definitely see them agreeing on that. The transportation to engage in the prostitution, yeah, I could definitely see them coming to a unanimous decision on that. But the racketeering conspiracy, I know that is going to be something that's going to be hard to prove. So the way I'm looking at it is Diddy will probably most likely, I'm thinking he might get away with the count 1 charge because if they can't come to an decision on that, does that mean, see, I need my legal people to jump in here, my legal eagles. Does this mean that this is going to end up being a hung jury if they can't come to a conclusion? And then it becomes like some double jeopardy type stuff, and then they won't be able to charge him again for the same crimes, and that means he'll get off? Because I don't necessarily see him getting away with this whole situation. Like the racketeering conspiracy basically says that you're spending the rest of your life in jail, or they would call it prison. But everything else is sort of like, yeah, I mean, well, the sex trafficking about force, fraud, and coercion, you would get a maximum sentence of life in prison, but the minimum would be 15 years. So then they add all that up, the 15 plus the 10 plus the another 15 plus the 10. By that rate, he'd be, he's already old. Like he's already half a century old. He's like, what, 55? So by the time you get out of jail, even if you don't get the life in prison charge, where they add all the other ones up, the 15 plus the 10 plus another 15 plus the 10, that'll be what? Because I'm trying to do the math on in my head. He might not be getting out of jail till, but he's like 70, 80 years old. Or that might, in a way, be he would be spending the rest of his life in prison regardless. But anyway, let's get back to the story because I'm sitting here trying to do all that math. So yeah, that's basically, it's a developing story. As I said before, they reached a verdict on 2 of the counts, each of sex trafficking and transportation to engage in the prostitution but they can't come to the racketeering thing. So that's basically the latest news at the moment. And I will definitely keep you guys abreast of this story as it develops. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story in regards to the latest case surrounding Diddy? Do you think that he will get to spend the rest of his life in prison? You know what, the way that things is going now, where actual criminals with money earn power are getting away with literally murder in this country. We have politicians who are doing all kinds of stuff, ruining the lives of American people. And all these other things that they're giving the current president, this is absolute power when he shouldn't even have that. And so many lives are about to be destroyed in the next couple of years. And then you have this situation where it's just like, everybody put their lives on the line, put their reputations, put everything on the line to make sure that this man doesn't continue to get away with the things that he spent 3 decades of his music career getting away with because he had the money, the power, and the influence. And I wouldn't even say the respect, because remember, you had that song Money, Power, Respect. I just think that people feared Diddy rather than respected him. because of the way he rolled and the people that he had on his payroll that could do his dirt for him. So, as I said before, I will definitely keep you guys abreast of the story as it develops, because this is breaking news. This is something that just came out like a couple, maybe like an hour ago. So yeah, I would definitely keep it abreast of the story, and let me know what your thoughts on this topic. You can let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Okay. All right, so let's get to our main topic, because the Diddy thing was, I just had to get through that real quick. There wasn't really much to talk about. So yeah, let's get into this Megan 2.0. So y'all already heard, because we talked about it yesterday, the big box office, the number one movie in America right now is F1. I did see it. I gave you my overall thoughts on it. I liked it. Not a big car guy, but I thoroughly enjoyed what all the different car sequences and the race car stuff. Like, it was a relatively good movie. Joe Kosinski definitely did his big one with that. So if your guys get a chance, definitely go check the film out, because it's a fun ride to be had. And Brad Pitt definitely is, acting his butt off up in there with what he's been given. And Damson Idris, I thought, did a good job, even though I wanted his character I need a little more fat on his character. Not physically, but I just needed more from him. I needed the script to give him much more to do, instead of kind of just being this young guy that was hating on the old guy until like the third act. So, but the big story here is Megan 2.0. The movie was, what was it? I think the movie that came out in 2023 was a surprise hit. There was this whole, I think it was just a lightning in a bottle thing that happened. First of all, the movie dropped in the early part of 2023. It was January. So there was no real competition in like the beginning of the year. So that was a good time to drop the movie. Plus they had their little TikTok dance thing. And then I thought they did a pretty good job with trying to, with the marketing and everything for that film. The movie made $180 million worldwide. The budget was $12 million. I believe that they doubled that with this film. So, I'm trying to know I think the movie was like $25 million. That was their budget for this film. And then they decided to do a whole shift. So it was supposed to be like this horror movie, which I guess we can call it horror loosely, because me, as a big horror connoisseur, there was nothing scary about Megan. Megan gave me horror for beginners in a lot of ways, but in this context, I just thought it'd be interesting for us to kind of get into this whole thing. And what do we think that went wrong with the film? So, they are talking about doing a Megan cinematic universe, which I don't understand why everybody's trying to copy off this Marvel MCU type of handbook, which is like, oh, we have this one movie and it was a big hit, so now we need to create spin-offs of these other films. To me, I've seen better, like, even thinking about this particular film, I've seen better AI movies, like the movie Companion, which nobody saw. That was a great movie. And if you haven't gotten around to say, I think it might be on HBO Max if you happen to have it. Companion is definitely a really good movie that people need to check out. So I like the whole idea about AI. And to me, at this point, with the way that our current administration is dealing with artificial intelligence and working with a lot of Silicon Valley bros in regards of them infiltrating our political landscape, I don't find anything remotely hilarious about AI at this point. Like, AI is giving me, like, I'm really feeling like y'all about to bring Terminator to life. Terminator, what's the other one? AI, the movie with Haley Joel Osment. What was the other one? The one with Will Smith. That one too. When he didn't like the robots or whatever. iRobot, that's what it was called. Where you had Elon Musk literally copying off of the same type of robot that was in that damn movie. I'm surprised they didn't sue him for highway thievery. So, as y'all all may have heard, the movie did flatline at the box office, generating a paltry $10 million domestically and $17 million globally in its first weekend of release. Now, while not a catastrophic result given the sequel's $25 million, okay, so I was correct, $25 million budget, because they'll definitely make it out, but not make it out, make it back. But it's not good when your movie basically made so much money, the first one, where it grossed $30 million and $45 million globally and became this big hit. And then it made $180 million against a $12 million budget. And then you release your sequel, you expect to double that number, not lose money. But that's what happens when you basically give the middle finger to the horror movie audience. And horror movie fans, I keep telling people, out of all the genres, the romantic comedies, the science fiction, the dramas, the action, all of that stuff, the most loyal genre, a group of genre, fanatics, horror movie fans are like the most loyal. They go to all the conventions. They show loyalty, and and another thing they show loyalty to the people that they love. And what I love about horror movie fans is there's no ageism in when it comes to their final girls. Now, maybe there's some people that come in or whatever because I feel like if y'all gonna go and try to talk about somebody's age or whatever, you too old to be doing this character, then it's like, you're not a real horror movie fan, because we love every time Jamie Lee Curtis shows up in a damn Halloween reboot and we don't have no problems with it. Then if we not complaining and you hear somebody that's complaining, you're not a real horror movie fan, because that's the one genre where you're allowed to age gracefully and we accept it. That we don't come in and with the ages of, she too old to be hunching or being in this movie starring against this person and that. No, we don't do that in horror. And like I said, if you hear somebody doing it, they're not a real horror movie fan. So now, lackluster reviews and an unfavorable release date didn't help in terms of turnout for Megan 2.0, though moviegoers were surprisingly fonder of the sequel, which earned a B+ grade. Who did they score with this? But this is according to Cinema Score. Now they said compared to the first, which landed a B score. The trouble is that too few people were incentivized to buy a ticket in the first place. Gerard Johnstone returned to write and direct the follow-up film, which brings back the murderous AI doll known as Megan, short for Model 3 Generative Android, as well as she's rebooted with advanced upgrades to stop a dangerous humanoid military robot. Now, according to David A. Gross, who runs the franchise movie consulting firm, he said nothing appears to be wrong with the movie. The story is struggling to show something new, and fans are moving on. And yeah, I think, and then also they said that Variety unpacked 5 reasons why Megan didn't replicate the success. We'll get into that in a second. But to jump on what he's saying, I think that was another thing too. The story struggles to show something new because you literally ripped off Terminator 2. That's the problem that you had with the movie. So that's why I think a lot of people was like, this is basically T2. Like, she's Arnold Schwarzenegger, Megan is Arnold Schwarzenegger, and this new upgraded robot is basically the T-1000. Except the difference is these are female robots instead of male robots. So you just switch the gender, but you offer nothing new. And then I heard that the Katie character, who's a little girl that Megan's supposed to be protecting, she was underused in the movie. And then you have the other girl, the aunt, who's out here bragging, I work with the stunt coordinators for the MCU. Whoop-de fucking do. I mean, if I'm hearing that the action sequences, you can barely make out what the fight sequences look like, then what's the point of you doing or working with stunt coordinators from the MCU if we can't see what the hell y'all doing in a fight? So according to the reason, as they said, as to why the movie didn't do all that well, they said a gimmick that didn't extend past the first film's 100-minute runtime. So before the first film, Megan became a online sensation thanks to her killer dance moves and campy energy. But the weak turnout for the sequel suggests the pint-sized agent of chaos was a one-off viral phenomenon rather than the next enduring Scream Queen. That could be a problem since a spinoff called Soulmate, which that is a spinoff that they have coming out with, and it's SOULM number 8 TE. A sci-fi thrill about a man who buys an android to cope with the death of his wife is set to open in January 2026. So we'll see if y'all care enough to watch that one. Now, they also mentioned release date trouble, saying the first Megan thrived in part because the horror film debuted during the notorious box office dead zone of January, which is what I alluded to before. Since there wasn't much of movie theater marquees at the time, Avatar: The Way of Water was dominating the charts in its 4th weekend of release. Audiences didn't have the luxury of choice if they wanted to go to the movies. Instead of sticking with the frame that worked for Megan or testing the waters in October when horror tends to thrive, which is what I always tell people. So late September, the month of October, is the best time to test the waters if you want to experiment with horror movies. Those are the times that we are in the spirit to want to go to movies. We got Spirit Halloween. Everybody's getting ready to pick out their costume to go to the Halloween parties, or in New York, the Halloween parade. You don't dump. Why would you put a movie that's technically supposed to be a horror film during the summer movie release period? And you thought you was gonna eat by putting your movie up against a Brad Pitt film, who is a movie star? Like, are you dumb? But it just goes to show that Blumhouse. I don't know who's running things over there. I don't know if it's Jason Blum. I don't know what's going on with him, but you need I don't know, maybe you need a lobotomy, you need like some peyote, I don't know, you need something, because I don't know how y'all running things over there, but it is a hot mess with a lot of the shitty films that y'all been releasing lately, and we're gonna get into that because that's one of the other reasons too. So yeah, then they said the studio set the second film to release during the comparatively packed summer movie season. Megan 2.0 could not stand out as a counter programming and got lost in the sea of blockbusters, like I said with F1, which crushed it at the box office. Then you have How to Train Your Dragon. Then we have Lilo and Stitch, which is almost about to gross, which I really feel like they're about to cross over the $1 billion mark, and we already heard we're getting a Lilo and Stitch 2. Plus, we got Jurassic World. I believe that comes out, today or tomorrow? I think it's tonight, because it always comes out the day before the actual release date. So technically it's Wednesday, but I believe it's out now, or it'll be out around 7:30, which is like in 30 minutes from the time I'm doing this particular topic. Then of course we have so many other movies. So we have Superman coming out next week. We have there's so many movies coming out. So yeah, Megan, you pretty much, they set you up for failure. And it just goes to show whoever was there, they underestimated this movie. They also went on to say Megan 2.0 leaned too much on camp and not enough into horror. Now, instead of doubling down on scares, much of the marketing for Megan 2.0 revolved around the doll's status as a sass master and camp icon. That certainly makes for a fun promotional campaign where pithy jokes and silly moments abound in the trailers and on posters, but the choice to focus on comedic aspects could have alienated horror Megans who were craving true frights. That could have been it too, because when I watched the trailer, I wasn't that impressed. I was just like, child, this is like y'all trying so hard to pander to the gays. And while the homosexuals live for the camp, trust and believe, we live for our camp. We love camp. And y'all know when watching this show, the many campy movies that I love. You can't create camp. You can't, that's not something you could just create in a lab and like force down people's throat. Camp usually happens by accident. A lot of times when we look at movies that turn out to be campy or whatever the case is, or guilty pleasures, whatever you want to call it, a lot of those, I don't think they've intended them to be campy. They just become campy. So you can't create it. It just has to happen. Or people have to determine if it's camp or not. So when you're up in here trying to be a sass master with them corny ass one-liners and they're not delivering, you shouldn't be shocked that your movie didn't do all that well in the box office. And they also said, since it's a hot topic in real life too, Williams has been repeatedly asked about the future of AI during the film's press tour. And one of the many questions she recently had to field about the topic, Williams acknowledged the concerning shift in vibes amid the rapid unknowable evolution of AI, saying the first movie took place at a time when AI was much more nascent. You have to introduce the vocabulary of it, Williams told Vanity Fair. Now, though, people are super intimately aware of, and I think wary of, their use of AI. It fundamentally changes the experience of watching the movie, where it's like, is it a good thing, or are we going to end up in a situation like Terminator, where they decide to, the machines rise up and pretty much enslave us? So let's get into Blumhouse's bumpy patch, because this is what I've been saying, like with a lot of the shitty movies they've been releasing lately. So, they've had their successes. So we should give it to them for that. Paranormal Activity franchise, which I could never get into because I hate found footage horror, or like the VHS horror where they shake the camera. Like I'm never like found footage horror. Even back to the days of the Blair Witch Project, which, no shade, I saw that with a bunch of damn college kids. That shit was overrated. I still feel like Paranormal Activity is overrated. Well, no, not Paranormal Activity. Well, I do feel like it is overrated. But the Blair Witch Project is overrated. The Purge was another good one, but I always felt like the premise was always better than the execution. Get Out, and in the Halloween franchise. Well, maybe the first one, Halloween 2018. Halloween Kills was like The Empire Strikes Back, just Michael Myers killing everybody so he can get back to his house. And then, as you already know, I love Halloween Ends, but not as part of a trilogy. I like it as a separate Halloween movie. But yeah, they had a lot of flops. Wolfman had a had a $25 million budget, only recouped 34 million, so that's a bomb. The Woman in the Yard, which I believe was just added to Peacock, that was a flop too. The movie had a $12 million budget, grossed 23 million. Then we had Drop, which I heard was a good movie too. I believe that's coming to one of the streaming services this month. I checked. I think it might be HBO Max or no, I think it's Peacock too. So but yeah, so because I was looking at the list or that yesterday, last night I was looking at a list and they were talking about here's all the horror films that's coming out in July. And did not even realize that today was July 1st. So Drop was on there, but Drop didn't do that well either. It was 20 million, it made $28 million against the that movie only cost $8 million and $8 million. That's it looks pretty good for $8 million. But is 28 million still considered a flop though? I guess maybe with the marketing and stuff, it costs more. But anyway, so then he went on to say, as part of the horror empire's business model, Blumhouse avoids any total financial fiascos by keeping costs low. Now, although Megan 2.0 was twice the price of the first film, any box office losses will be negligible. However, Blumhouse could use a commercial win. So I'm sure that they're hoping that they'll get that with Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Although I will say Five Nights at Freddy's, the first one, I was just like, I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good either. And I saw that at home because they released that day and date. And that was one of the rare ones, day and dates, that actually did well at the theater as well as on streaming. Because I saw it on Peacock. So I never saw it in the theater. I actually watched it at home on Peacock. And I was like, I enjoyed it for what it was, but it wasn't great. And I didn't know much about Five Nights at Freddy's. I know it's based off of, isn't it based off like a kid's book or a movie or something or another? Like, I never knew much about Five Nights at Freddy's, but to me, as a horror movie fan, I was like, it's all right. And I like Josh Hutcherson. That was the only reason why I watched it. Like, I've been a Josh Hutcherson fan since the Jumanji sequel, Zathura. But anyway, my overall thoughts on this. Megan, I feel like flop because people behind the first film abandoned the very demographic that supported the first movie. To me, like I said earlier, you cannot set out to make camp. Camp ends up being a happy accident. Hence why, me being someone who loves camp, who loves horror, and who is homosexual, we like films like Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, Showgirls, Mommy Dearest. Like when you look at those type of films, that has a whole camp factor. I don't think that they intended Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, Showgirls, and Mommy Dearest to be camp classics amongst the gays, but it turned out to be that way. So when you're coming out with something like Megan, you can't just all of a sudden wake up and, you know what? I feel like writing a script and I'm going to make it campy so the homosexuals can come and support it. Because if you go and pander to the gays, we're going to see through the BS and we're going to be like, no, man, Pam, we don't care. We're not going to go support it. And then on top of that, how dare you insult our intelligence? You release it during Pride weekend. Like we out getting our backs blown out. People out here clapping cheeks. We out here partying. We out here having a good old time, especially because, with this current administration, who knows how many more prizes we're going to have left. So anybody thinking about going to see no damn Megan in no theater? So that could have been another reason why it flopped. So, at the end of the day, sure, the viral dance moment was cute. And the marketing behind the first film was clever. But if you're going to transition from making a mid-horror movie for the Gen Z set into a sci-fi action comedy hybrid, the action better be John Wick caliber epic, and the one-liners better be funny. And from what I heard, the film provided none of those. So you may have to put this whole Megan verse on hold. I mean, I know y'all probably can't do that right now because you got Soulmate coming. So Soulmate needs to come out and do what it does, and then we'll see if that movie actually is a worthy successor. Let me say predecessor. Predecessor is before. It's like a worthy successor to Megan. we'll see when that movie comes out. In the meantime, I don't know because I haven't seen a lick of a trailer or anything of that nature. So yeah, I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story regarding the reasons Variety came up with as why Megan 2.0 flopped at the box office? Do you agree with their assessment? I had to, of course, add my little seasoning on it why I think the movie flopped, and that was based on my observation of watching the trailers. And to me, I did go to the movies Friday, and I went and I was like, am I going to go see Megan? I didn't care enough. But I was like, I want to go see F1. I don't know. It was something about the trailers, the marketing, and everything that made me, even though like I said, I'm not a car guy, that made me gravitate more towards that film versus Megan 2.0. Like, I don't feel like the movie offered me a reason to want to spend, and tickets ain't cheap when you go to the movies. So they offered me no real specific reason to why I should have went and spent the money to go see that film in the theater. So that's why I chose F1, because I knew, like, if I go up in the theater, I'm going to have the surround sound. I'm going to be immersed in the car. Like, I'm actually a part of, like I'm one of the race car drivers. So I definitely want to hear from you all. So let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below. All right, let's see what the people are saying. You said the way the movie ended, I thought they might do a third movie. Wait, you saw the second one? You said they should have released the movie later. Yeah. Well, they were talking about making a third one. Like the director was saying, oh, I got an idea for the third one. I'm like, well, damn, nobody saw the second one. I don't think anybody cares at this point. You might want to pump your brakes because y'all like a poor man's Chucky. No shade. Man, I should have used that. That would have been a perfect example. Chucky, now talk about camp. There's camp all up in that movie. And it's probably because a gay man is behind the franchise, Don Mancini. So if you're not a part of that community, I don't know if y'all even know how to bring camp into something. You said that's not true. There were a lot of fight scenes. No, I didn't say there wasn't a lot of fight scenes. I said there wasn't, that you couldn't see the fight scenes. There was a lot of people saying that there was a lot of like real bad cuts and stuff. Like similar, I don't know if you saw Snake Eyes, like there was comparisons to that. Now Snake Eyes was terrible. I literally had to turn that movie off. That's how bad that was. And I like oh my god, the guy from Crazy Rich Asians that's about to shoot Henry Golden. I like Henry Golden, but that movie was just a hot mess. And I'm looking forward to seeing him because speaking of Crazy Rich Asians, y'all know they've given us a TV show version of that. So they're supposed to start working on that soon. So I'm actually excited about that. You said Katie is in half the movie. There was a funny part where Megan starts singing Kate Bush's song. Oh, that's cute. You said you're gonna see Jurassic World. I don't know. I've been hearing so many mixed reviews on Jurassic World. I'm still debating whether or not I'm gonna actually spend money to go see it or if I should just wait. I think they thought Brad Pitt was canceled. Nobody canceled Brad Pitt. So if y'all was thinking that because of the drama that he's dealing with Angelina Jolie and the kids and stuff, it's like, no. I don't think people care. Quiet as it's kept. People just don't care about, the whole whatever's going on in his personal life. Or if Tom Cruise isn't canceled because of Scientology, Brad Pitt won't be canceled because of being an absentee father. He's too big of a superstar to cancel. And then look, the kids decided they don't want to be in his life. I don't know what was going on behind the scenes with him and the children, all this other stuff. Whatever's going on with that, that's on them. But at least the kids made the choice of them disowning their father. And Brad Pitt has been open about his past issues with alcohol and going to AA meetings and that recent interview that he did with Dax Shepard. So that could have played a part in, what the kids probably were telling the truth, that Brad Pitt was drinking, and when he would drink, he had a mean streak to him. So I'm glad that he's, based off of appearances, he's gotten himself together. Hopefully he'll be able to work it out with his kids. Unlike Tom Cruise, who made the decision to abandon Suri because of what they learned from Scientology. So you're putting your religion that I know, I'm not even gonna get into it with Scientology because you already know my story with them. But you're allowing some fake ass religion based off of a sci-fi novelist that he created to determine how your relationship should work with your child. So to me, I just don't understand that. I don't think Brad Pitt just intentionally decided, oh, I don't want nothing to do with my kids. That was just, who knows? Maybe the kids were seeing stuff. Some people think that and I don't want to be that person to be like, well, Angelina was probably chirping in them kids' ear, turning them against their father. I don't want to be that guy because I don't know if that is something that's true. But to me, they're all team her, not him. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I saw that Woman in the Yard was on. No, I think it's been up there a while. I just never got around to watching it. Because the other day I was watching Peacock and I saw that it was up there. So I think it's been up there since last week. Because I saw the trailer for the second Five Nights at Freddy's. Did they post it already? I know they showed the new Glenn Powell movie, The Running Man, which I have not watched that trailer yet. I need to get around to it. But from the little stuff I've been hearing, everybody's saying it looks pretty intense. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that, and I'm glad that they're taking. Hopefully, they're taking more of the inspiration from the Stephen King book rather than the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. I like Megan, but not gonna lie, I'm over Hollywood using women to market to my. I want out and proud homosexual characters. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you really going hard for Midnighter, and yeah, we need gay superheroes. We don't want to keep getting like these sassy little girls or whatever that get. Oh yeah, we relate to her because she's gonna be our Beyonce. She's gonna be our Kylie. She's gonna be our like. Stop with the stereotypes. It's like, yeah, we definitely want to see different iterations of queer characters. We would love to see queer characters in an action movie role. Why can't we have that? Because I want to continue to perpetuate the stereotype that all gays are, femme queens that do their nails and dress and drag and do the hula. I don't think so. Okay, so it's based on a comic series. So I think also wasn't it PG? Wasn't the last movie PG-13? I said we like hard rated R, bloody, seeing the gore and the violence. Who you telling? Because I had to go to the movie see Terrifier 3. He said they need to start adding more gay characters in horror movies. Absolutely. Maybe we got to be the change of that. As in people who work in the industry got to start writing those characters. You said I hate the choppy editing. Me too. That's why it's like even though I like the Bourne Identity movies, I hate the editing in those fight sequences. That's why I always talk about like John Wick, because it's like you want to be able to see the fight sequences and stuff. You can do your editing and stuff, but people want to see what's going on. Like, don't try to cheat us with the shitty editing and then the bad lighting. So it's like I can hear something's going on, but I can't see nothing. The part where she starts singing Kate Bush is very random, and I haven't really seen anyone find it. So the fight scenes didn't look choppy to me. One of them made me think of Mortal Kombat, the way they were flipping and jumping all around the room they were in. Yeah, because that was my Lion King reference. All right, y'all. So now let's get back into the show. Hey, let's talk about this Vin Diesel story. So yesterday we did talk a little bit about Vin Diesel. He made the announcement at some recent event. He was there with Tyrese and Paul Walker's brother Cody that Fast 11 is coming. I don't know if it's going to be called Fast 11. I don't know if it's still being called Fast X Part 2. Who the hell knows? But we know a movie's coming. He made the announcement that in April of 2027 is when we'll finally get the movie. Although what he said that Universal said to him, on the conditions of what the movie with the movie coming back and stuff, I called cap on that yesterday. Like, I was not buying what he was selling. But let's entertain the shenanigans of Vin Diesel, because after he said that he was bringing Paul Walker back, even though Paul Walker been dead since 2013, so that's been what, 12 years? Because of 2013, yeah. 12 years he's been unalive. Well, he's been dead because he died in the car crash while they were still filming. This is why they should have been like, no, none of y'all getting escorts, y'all getting Ubers, or you getting your personal driver, like how they do the talk show hosts. Like, people pick you up and take you to your job. They should have advised that for the Fast and the Furious crew. Anything to do with cars, whatever. You are not to drive a vehicle until this movie is done. That's what they should have put. But they wasn't expecting Paul Walker to go out and start drag racing in real life. But he did, and ended up dying in a fiery car crash. So now that he's talking about he's going to bring Paul Walker back, which to me, I said, for creative reasons, if you're wrapping up the franchise, it makes sense that you have to bring Paul Walker back because you didn't kill his character off. So, like they did with Chadwick Boseman in Black Panther. So you can get around that by recasting, but they'll just do what they did with Fast 7, which was the parts that he wasn't able to finish. I mean, it's not gonna be like The Crow, which Stahelski has long hair, so you could pretty much pretend like that's Brandon Lee in certain spots because they look similar, and then you could just cheat with the lighting and stuff. But this one, they got to do full on digital effects on his brother. So I mean, they all look alike too. I think there is a picture. Hold on, there is a picture of the siblings, and I didn't even think to bring that picture up. So we'll do that. So that way y'all can get an idea what the brothers look like. So it don't look like they're going to need to do much work, but they're going to have to do some little digital stuff because then we'll be looking at them like, that ain't Paul Walker. And so, yeah, he was somebody who's going to bring it back. But now, yesterday, the thing that we didn't talk about the fact that the fans were upset that he might be bringing it back. Well, there was mixed reviews, but for the most part, a lot of people wasn't really feeling the fact that Vin, Fuchel, I know y'all probably gonna throw some shade at the fact that what the hell have you been doing? Well, he ain't worked since the last Fast and the Furious movie. What was that, like 2012, 2022 or something? So yeah, Vin got a little gut. But we know he'll hit the gym. Show that because the other day I was watching the Chronicles of Riddick on Sunday. I was sitting there like, damn, Vin look good. First of all, well now he not so much. But back in the day, I trust and believe, Vin, if I seen you in a dog room, I definitely would have dropped to my knees and just did some nasty stuff to you. Let me stop being a hoe. But so yeah, according to the Daily Mail, they said Vin Diesel sparked outrage online after teasing that his Fast and Furious character Dom Toretto, excuse me, will reunite with Brian O'Connor, played by the late Paul Walker, for the 11th and final film of the $7.4 billion grossing franchise, already scheduled to hit theaters in April of 2027. The 57-year-old, he's 57? Damn. They said the 57-year-old SAG Award nominee sported a tank top emblazed with Fast X Part 2 Los Angeles Production 2025 while making the controversial announcement listing his 3 conditions for Universal Pictures as he hit the stage at Fuel Fest in Pomona, California last Saturday. He said, because he was saying like, the Universal was like, Vin, can you please bring back the Fast and Furious? I'm like, child, first of all, we all know that they ain't asked that. Ain't no way in hell Universal begging you to make another damn Fast and the Furious movie. But I said, let's entertain the shenanigans. But then he went and said, first is to bring the franchise back to LA. Vin, who's born Mark Sinclair, said in fan footage of the event. The second thing was his return to the car culture, to the street racing. The third thing was reuniting Dom and Brian O'Connor. Well, I could definitely understand the last part because it would make sense that y'all want to kind of wrap it all up in things. But and have Brian come in like one little sequence. I don't know how much they're planning on putting in the movie, but if there's kind of like some little sentimental sequence they need to have towards the end or wherever they're gonna put it, it definitely makes sense to be like Brian has to come on board in some sort of way. But I don't know if they want to bring him in to be doing like action sequences and then you just have the brother stepping in to do the acting. Well, look, if that's the case, if you're gonna make Paul Walker's brother be an actor, he better take some acting classes. But then again, are we expecting Shakespeare from the Fast and the Furious franchise? I don't think so. So yeah, let me pull up this picture of Paul and his brothers. It was like, yeah, when you look at them, they all look alike. The one in the middle looks more like Paul than anything. I don't know necessarily the one on the end, he look a little older, but there's some trickery y'all could do to make him look, a certain way. Maybe some people be like the one in the middle looks a little too young. But then again, this is like over a decade ago. So I'm sure they don't look that way anymore. But there's so many tricks and stuff you can do in Hollywood. So they said that Diesel and his Fast and Furious co-star Tyrese were joined at Fuel Fest by Paul's mother Cheryl and younger brother Cody. Fans will recall how Furious 7 director James Wan hired Weta Digital to recreate Paul's face with CGI, which was superimposed over the bodies of 3 stand-ins, 37-year-old Cody, his 47-year-old brother Caleb, and lookalike John Brotherton. So if it comes down to it, they'll probably just bring these 3 back. You have Cody Cody will come in, his brother Caleb, and then another lookalike actor, he'll come in and he'll just be a stand-in and have to do some of the sequences. And trust and believe, the way AI is today, when they start picking up like with voices and things, it is so creepy now how you can create so much stuff with AI that you would literally think that you're looking at this person. But it also makes me wonder, what does the future hold for something like this? Like, are we going to be watching movies where people who have passed away, you want to cast them in a film? So like, I'm trying to think, like, who would be a good example? I'd be like, okay, so if you did a movie and like Michael K. Williams, you want to put him up in it, who passed away. Would that be a good idea? Or Paul Rubens, aka Pee Wee Herman. If you want to do another Pee Wee Herman movie, but he's dead, but you want to bring him back, that would be a little creepy, in my opinion. So I do understand, like, excuse me. Well, I think honestly the reason why they're trying to talk about, we got to bring back to the street racing. We need to bring it back to all this other stuff because them other movies was too damn expensive. I told you that last movie was almost $400 million. Y'all was traveling Italy, you was traveling all over the world doing these like y'all was Mission and Damn Possible and doing like these crazy stunts. You're doing these over the top type stunts and things of that nature in the films, and it was just like, so y'all going all over the world. The budget is crazy, and you're not recouping the money. And so we're losing money here. So definitely you need to bring it back to basics. You need to ground it. So that's why I can understand, because they're probably not going to give you the big budget you want. So Universal's probably like, no, because, we've given you what you wanted and you haven't delivered. So yeah, let's shut it down. But we're going to make it seem like, you know what, this was Vin's idea. Let him think, let the people think that, okay, we're trying to bring it back to basics. So what does that mean for the previous film? Because you left us on the cliffhanger. We're still on that cliff, waiting for the other half. Well, those of us who still give a damn about the Fast and the Furious movies. So now on the social media platform Twitter, the reaction to the news troubled many fans, including user Callie Too Short, who tweeted, "Bring back Paul Walker as a CGI character is as disgusting as bringing back Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther." But you want to know something? I couldn't think of an analogy, but that's a perfect one. Because I was like, can you imagine them deciding to bring back Chadwick? First of all, Ryan Coogler would never do that because Ryan Coogler is not crazy. Ryan Coogler actually has respect for film and art and cinema and all that other stuff. So Ryan Coogler would never disrespect somebody in that way. This is the only franchise, quiet as it's kept, that's making Vin Diesel money. Because remember, once upon a time, he abandoned the Fast and the Furious films because he thought he was too big, and he went over and did the Triple X, then he went over and did all these other franchises, and then realized them movies nobody cared. And then what was it? The Riddick films and all these other spin-offs, all these other films, and nobody cared. So yeah, he had to come back to Fast and the Furious. Because every time he had a movie, he would leave after the first one. Like I was talking about with Triple X, you left the first one. With Fast and the Furious, you left after the first one. So they went on to say, another person went on to say, "I watched them turn grief into a cash grab, and now they're dragging Paul Walker's legacy back like it's a prop." Well, here's the thing. I'll say after that Fast and the Furious movie, when Paul Walker was in it, what was that, Fast Furious 7, I think it was? That movie was half done. They couldn't just be like, well, we have to abandon the movie. They were filming it. They spent a lot of money. The movie still had to come out. And you have to realize that when you think about Fast and the Furious, yeah, it's about Brian O'Connor and Vin Diesel. It's about their two characters. But it's an ensemble film. But they are the two co-leads of it. So I feel like after the seventh one, they should have stopped. But they didn't. So, and that was like the good one. And I think that I told you the reason why I feel like that movie made $1 billion at the box office, because there were people who were fans that were going to go support it. And then you had those who watched the film, who were curious and wanted to see how they were going to send off how they were going to finish the movie, how they were going to send off his character. Are they going to kill him off? Or are they going to come up with other ideas? Come to find out, if you saw the movie, didn't kill him off. They went two cars going off in two different directions. That's how they went. And then they play that "See You Again" song, which, we all tend to get sentimental when we hear it. Another person said, by the name of Jason Delgado 78, he tweeted, "Let Paul Walker rest in peace instead of CGIing him into a crappy movie." Another person said, "Let Paul Walker's character in the Fast and Furious stay retired. He got a good send-off. Don't bring him back." Another person said, can't we just let the franchise go? It's way past its prime, and it's only disrespectful to Paul Walker to continue to have Brian there. And another person said, I don't care if it's Paul's brother playing him. It's still disrespectful and stretching out a franchise that could have ended like 10 years ago. Well, look, I do agree that the franchise has overstayed its welcome. I do feel like that it is time to wrap up this whole franchise and all this other stuff. And you know what? After this one, that's what they're doing. Who knows if they could be able to reboot it or do some spin-offs or come up with a new idea to make it fresh. I've been said that, you know what they should have did? While they were criminals, you could have turned them into like some spies or whatever and having them use, their skills as criminals to capture other criminals and help the government in some sort of way. Like they could have come up with some really cool ideas to spin off the Fast and the Furious films, but I don't know what they were thinking, but I'm not the one that produces over there. I'm not Vin Diesel, where, it's all about him and his ego, whatever the case is, and he tries to play it like it's not. And let's be clear, Dwayne Johnson also helped, breathe some life into that franchise too. So I'm of two minds of it. On one hand, I do feel like it might be disrespectful, but look, if its family doesn't have a problem with it, if they're okay with it, it's like, this is the final movie. Fingers crossed it is the final movie. Because, they always say it's the final movie, then it turns out it's not. Just like Mission Impossible. Y'all said that's not the final reckoning, but then again, y'all might try to make another one, which I think at this point don't. Tom is like damn near in his mid-60s. We don't need you trying to do more crazy-ass stunts. We got it. We know you're capable of doing crazy stunts. It's time to reboot the Mission Impossible franchise. Same thing with this one. So hopefully they wrap it all up. Hopefully we can move on. And if they're going to only bring him back to wrap up the franchise in a way, and the family doesn't have a problem with it, then I don't think everybody else should be having a problem with it too. I'll just wait until the movie comes out in 2027. Lord forbid if I'm still here, because, the way this current administration is taking this country, who knows if there'll be an America left. So, I was like, what is going on? So yeah, so that's all I gotta say on that. So yeah, I definitely want to hear from y'all. Do y'all feel like the fans are saying it's disrespectful to bring back the Brian O'Connor character, even though Paul Walker's been dead for over 12 years? Or do you feel like, what? It's just, they're doing the AI thing. I mean, and I think that's what the issue is too. I just think like for the most part, a lot of people are just stressing and worrying about because, with the use of AI and all these different technologies and stuff, how if it's not used correctly or properly or respectfully, that it might be a crazy thing to do. But look, if they're not going to use it, and if the family's okay with it, then I'm okay with it. But I definitely want to hear from y'all. So let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below. Hakuna Matata. Vin Diesel looking like he slammed the entire plane. I always say it looked like he ate the whole damn cornfield. Is it honestly, yeah, bringing back actors through CGI after they passes beyond nasty. No class, no cool. Okay. If they gonna bring back Brian, bring back Suki too. Wait, who's Suki? Oh, Suki. Am I missing something? No, I don't know. There's something going on. Right. Oh yeah, I had to check messages because tomorrow I gotta go to the damn DMV and get that real ID. So I have an 11:15 appointment. But anyway, let's get back into the show. And that's about this latest news from James Gunn. Now, I'm sure y'all been paying it. Well, we've talked about it on the show, like in regards to like the whole Wonder Woman situation, like who's gonna actually come in and um be the new Wonder Woman for the DCU. We had Gal Gadot for the DCEU. She did what she did. It was what it was, and now we can put that mess behind us. But now we have, the upcoming DCU, where James Gunn is creating and things of that nature. And he did let us know a couple of weeks ago that there is a Wonder Woman movie or script, he said, that's being developed. And there have been a lot of people who have been throwing around names and this, that, and the other. But word on the curb is one of the big names that has been thrown around a lot is Adria Arjona. And James has heard the commentary on social media because y'all, I'm sure y'all be all up in his comments or all up on his socials, letting it be known. And you know who they want, and I think a lot of people were sleuthing, and they said that he followed her on social media, which had them thinking that there may be some truth that Adria Arjona, who is, by the way, dating our Lobo, Jason Momoa, he definitely has a type. Do y'all notice that? Because she looked like Lisa Bonet. So I'm like, okay, you definitely got a type, Jason. Shout out to you. Sidebar, his son is actually going to be, his and Lisa Bonet's son, is actually going to be in Dune Messiah playing Shawnee and Paul Atreides' son, Paul II. Oh, yeah, Paul II. What was the father's name? In the movie? His father. That was played by Oscar Isaac. That's what I think his name is going to be in the new film. But anyway, so in a recent interview with Extra, the Guardians of the Galaxy director discussed Hitman star Adria Arjona, sorry, and teased where he sees her fitting into his revamped DC universe. He said, I follow Adria on Instagram, but everybody came out and thought he just followed her. That means she's Wonder Woman. She'd be a great Wonder Woman, by the way. He says, she was in a movie that I made 7 years ago. We've been friends and known each other since that time. I followed her then. I didn't just follow her. So he was saying, like, I've been following her for a long time, but the fact of the matter was because they did a movie together, but because the name has been floating around, they see that James Gunn's following Adria. That means she's going to be the Wonder Woman. First of all, we don't have no idea who our Wonder Woman is going to be. I don't know necessarily how tall Adria is, but does that really matter? Because everybody looks the same when you're watching them on the screen any damn way. Like, we don't necessarily know how tall people are. Like, when you look at Wolverine is supposed to be like Daniel Radcliffe height. Like, he's short. But they had Hugh Jackman, who was like 6'2", maybe taller than that, playing Wolverine. And now people look at Wolverine as being like this tall, big, masculine hunk of a man. So I don't think that you have to be comic book accurate when it comes to height and overall look or whatever the case is. But she's got those exotic features. And when you look at someone like a Wonder Woman, I definitely think our Wonder Woman needs to have like these, exotic features to her. Because I can definitely see that. But I understood like why they picked Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot is like, I think, 5'10". So she is statuesque. Only problem is she can't act her damn way out of a brown paper damn bag. So that was the only problem that we had with her. But if Adria gets a job, I'm definitely thinking like, you know what, she could pack on the muscle. She's definitely got the physical attributes. She is a beautiful woman. And I think that with her, she has way more acting range than Gal Gadot. But mind you, a dildo has more acting range than Gal Gadot. So it doesn't take much to be a good actor when you're trying to be up against what Gal Gadot lacks, which is acting experience. She pretty though, but other than that, I'm like, girl, you couldn't challenge what you did in the IDF and bring that to bring that, like, that's what I would have been like as an actor. I'm like, or acting coach. I'm like, think about all them times when you was, using them little brown people as target practice, being a sniper and all when you was in the IDF. Now, challenge that when you fighting the Nazis. That'll be in action. Go ahead, bitch. Do that scene as Wonder Woman. That's what I'd have been like. Now, earlier in June, Gunn told Entertainment Weekly that a new feature film following Wonder Woman is being written right now. He also added that the movie will come in addition to an HBO series about Wonder Woman's home of Themyscira. Gunn said that the TV project is slow moving, but it's moving. The Wonder Woman movie is only one of many feature films in development at DC Studios. And then we have Superman coming out next week, I think on the 11th. Then we have Supergirl, which is now called Supergirl, so it's not Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow anymore. That comes out next year in June. Then we have Clayface, they're working on that, which is supposed to come out in September of 2026. And I think that's pretty much it. Oh, yeah, then we have Lanterns. So we don't really have, I almost forgot. Now the script for the Batman Part 2 is done. So we'll be having that as well. But that, I think, is not until 2027. So things are starting to cook over there at the DC. And I do think that Adria, in my opinion, even though he's saying that she's not, I do feel like, you know what, James is full of crap. I do think that he might be looking at her. I think she might be a strong contender. I also think that because he has such a good rapport with Jason Momoa, that Jason Momoa could basically just chirp in James's ear, be like, put my girl on, give her like a audition, whatever. Not saying that she needs the help or whatever, but a little push could help. She is a good actress. She was also on Andor. So Adria's definitely got the chops. I definitely could see her playing Wonder Woman. And as I said before, she does not have to be comic book accurate when it comes to the height. Because I'm sure that, well, you know what? I was like, how tall is Linda Carter? Because we don't really have many people to go by in regards to Wonder Woman. So you can come up and she's 5'9". So I'm like, well, that is, I guess, isn't that above average for a woman to be 5'9"? So she's a little tall-ish. And she's 73. Shout out to her. She still look good. But it was just like, but yeah, when it comes down to it, I just don't think the height matters or whatever. It just matters of like, can she embody what Wonder Woman is? She has exotic features. She is attractive. She's definitely can, hit the gym a little more. I mean, even though the body is tight, like when you look at her, you can definitely see she's in great shape. But they'll probably have her put on a little more muscle. I'm not saying she got to be out here looking like, a bodybuilder, but she'll probably get a little tone up, get those sexy little arms or whatever the case is, and she could definitely pull up Wonder Woman. So I don't think that she has to be, as I said, tall and fill the all the boxes of what the mainstream or people who are comic accurate says that a Wonder Woman is supposed to look like. It should be whoever is the best girl for the job. And to me, I'm just like, I definitely see Wonder Woman in her. So I say to you, what do you guys think of this story? Whatever your thoughts are on this story, put them in the comments down below. Oh, you said for Too Fast, Too Furious. You know how long ago I was? I don't remember who was in that. Oh, yeah, Devin Aoki. I did like her. Steve Aoki's sister. Like you said, the one in the pink outfit that Zoomers are always posting. She also drove a 2000 Honda and had a thing with Brian and Ludacris's character. Not Short Kings. Please give her back her sword and shield. All right, y'all. So now we got some awesome news. Let's give a shout out to David Dastmalchian, who was just announced to be the villain in the new Mortal Kombat movie, where he is about to play Bison. Because I was sitting there wondering, who's going to play Bison? Like, the only person that I can think of, well, that we know that played Bison in the live action film of Street Fighter was the late Raul Julia. And that was like his final film, because he was sick when he made that movie too, by the way. But now we now know who's going to be playing our lead villain in the film. So David Dastmalchian, who, speaking of James Gunn, he was in the Suicide Squad, and he was also in a film, I don't know if y'all seen it, called Late Night with the Devil. That was a really good one too. But according to Deadline, they're the ones saying this, but reps for Legendary, who are producing the film, they haven't commented on this. But Deadline is revealing that David Dastmalchian, who I should say, by the way, this is the biggest role to date for him, because he's always, as someone who's been in the industry, and I don't think a lot of people know this, but David Dastmalchian has been acting for about 2 decades. And he's been in a lot of movies. Like, I'm sure he was in The Dark Knight. He's been in a lot of films, but he's never had like that big. He was always he's like a character actor, I guess, or he's done a lot of smaller films. And I particularly like when David shows up and he pops up on every season of Dracula. That was another thing that I liked about him too. So they said plot details of Street Fighter remain under wraps. M. Bison is the central villain of many of the games, the leader of the criminal organization known as Shadaloo, which is involved in various illegal activities, including arms trafficking, mind control experiments, and global domination. His ultimate goal, world domination. Now, as previously announced, others in the cast of Street Fighter include Andrew Koji, Noah Centineo, Jason Momoa, speaking of which, Roman Reigns, Orville Peck. Why the hell is 50 Cent in this damn movie? See, now, y'all about to rub me the wrong way, because y'all got 2 people in this movie I don't particularly care for. Y'all got 50 Cent troll ass up in here, and then who in their right mind decided You know what? When I think of Street Fighter, you know who I think of? Andrew Scholes. Like, who in their mind thinks Andrew Scholes, of all people, when you watching a Street Fighter movie or when you casting a Street Fighter movie? To me, it feels like a lot of this casting is posturing and pandering because you're trying to market it to a certain demographic. Like, I get, well, Andrew Koji, he does a lot of action and stuff, so that's why I like him. Like, he was on that show Warrior. He also was in, oh my God, what was the name of the movie? Boy Kills World or something or another. That film with, um, oh my God, what the hell is his name? The actor that played Pennywise the Clown. Um, Skarsgård. Peter Skarsgård's, or is it Stellan Skarsgård's son? I don't know. My brain just drew a blank right now. But anyway, so I like, Andrew Koji. Noah Centineo, he definitely could use a hit, especially after being in that horrible ass Flash movie. I mean, it wasn't Flash. It was Black Adam. He was in that. And then he was supposed to be He-Man, but then that movie never panned out. They wound up going with somebody else. I told and Jason Momoa and Roman Reigns, I get that because Roman Reigns is like you're trying to get the wrestling crowd to show up. So it definitely makes sense to do that. But 50 Cent, really? Like, I can understand y'all putting his horrible acting ass in a movie like Expendables. Because that movie is expendable. And y'all didn't care. That's why y'all didn't go see the last one. Now, launched in 1987, Street Fighter is a series of fighting games revolving around intense one-on-one battles between a diverse cast of martial artists, organized by Bison as a global fighting tournament. The games have sold over 55 million units worldwide since launch, making the franchise one of the most well-known and highest-grossing of all time. Recently seen in Mike Flanagan's Stephen King adaptation, The Life of Chuck, which won the coveted People's Choice Award and TIFF and went on to, and that's the Toronto International Film Festival. For those of you who have no idea what TIFF is, and went on to distribution via Neon. Dastmalchian was also seen starring earlier this year alongside. It's funny how I just brought up his brother, and I couldn't think of his damn name. But they talking about Alexander Skarsgård. I don't know if y'all seen the show on Apple called Murderbot. That show was kind of cute though. So he was in that. And also he's about to be on the new upcoming season of Dexter Resurrection, season 2. And he's about to be on season 2 of One Piece, where he'll play the evil Mr. 3. So David stay acting. I'm definitely going to want to go see this movie. And then they also say he's going to be in a film called Super Double X with Kelly Marie Tran, who came out as a lesbian not too long ago, and Brian Fuller's Dust Bunny, among his other upcoming projects. He's repped by Alice Artless and blah, 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 so on and so forth. Y'all don't even know who reps him, but I think this is good news. I'm excited for this because I'm a Street Fighter fan. Why does this come? I like Mortal Kombat more, but nevertheless, I like Street Fighter, and I definitely hope that, with what they did with the Mortal Kombat reboot, it was thoroughly entertaining. I'm definitely curious to see what they're going to do with this upcoming remake or rebooting of the Street Fighter franchise. So I'm definitely looking forward to that, but I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story regarding the latest news that David Dastmalchian, who was like a real big character actor in Hollywood, particularly he does a lot of horror films and stuff, that he's been cast as the lead villain and Bison in the upcoming Street Fighter reboot. Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Bill Skarsgård, thank you. Because for some reason I couldn't remember his damn name. I was playing Street Fighter with my nephew last week. Oh boy, that's what I said. I'm like, Andrew Scholes, he irritates my entire spirit. Now you're gonna have his non-acting ass being annoying in this freaking movie. Well, if y'all kill him off, then I'll go and see it. But I'm like, no. I mean, I was like, him and 50 Cent, like, really? Whatever. Who's 50 playing? Baraka? He was like, Andrew Scholes is in this. Oh, that is a cash grab for sure. Too bad, because I really want to see these roided out characters muscling around and getting sweaty and You say Urine is my favorite Street Fighter character. Street Fighter 5 character for no particular reason. Mm-hmm. I was like, and what is the reason? Speaking of what is the reason, did y'all see that trailer for Cardi B's new album? That visual made no damn sense. Or am I bugging? First of all, you like Urian because he be walking around in little white underwear, practically naked. But it was like, yeah, that promo thing that she was doing for her video, I'm like, first of all, your acting is terrible. She's supposed to be acting and the crows are trying to get her. She goes in the car and then all of a sudden they get through the window and then she's laying on top of the car and the crows are flying around her. I'm like, am I watching a bad skit or is this like some idea y'all took from Resident Evil 3, the one that the crows when they got Ashanti? Remember that one? So anyway, wait, hold on. You said is I'm okay. All right, y'all. Okay, so let's get out of the movie news and let's get into more serious news. So let's talk about Bob Vylan because apparently, they've had to come out and give their overall thoughts in this whole situation regarding Glastonbury because a lot of people run around here with their own fake ass narratives, and Glastonbury's been very performative because everybody's been coming at them with the backlash and all this other stuff. So, but we should have pulled this and we should have did this, but you didn't. So stop saying what you woulda, coulda, shoulda have done and you didn't do it. And now because you're trying to backpedal, you don't want the smoke. Now you're trying to slither your way out of a situation. And Bob Vylan just didn't like how the narrative has been, hijacked in this particular situation. Because the other day I told you I played his, posted his tweet. He's like, I said what I said. But now he's had to come out and defend, like, yeah, I'm standing 10 toes down in this whole situation. So UK Punk Group, Bob Vylan has responded to the uproar over its death to the IDF comments at the Glastonbury Festival with a statement that doubles down on the artist's pro-Palestinian position, albeit with less inflammatory language and more explanatory content that was found in their concert chant, which the BBC labeled as anti-Semitic. Which, in my opinion, I said it was not. What they were going after, they said death to the IDF, which meant the facility, the military, who have literally been going around getting orders to, say, I don't know if and a lot of people are familiar with this, but there was stories that was coming out, and this is what made piss me off about the whole IDF thing and why I be going so hard on Gal Gadot because she was a part of that shit too. The reason why I go so hard on this whole situation and the whole thing about Palestine, because when I was hearing stories, and not only hearing stories, but I would see actual video. See, y'all get too much of y'all information, not y'all, but I'm just saying, the people that come out here with this anti-Semitism bullshit, a lot of y'all get y'all information from legacy media or whatever y'all being brainwashed by. But I was seeing videos on TikTok, I was seeing videos on Instagram of, I saw a man from Palestine carrying his dead child with his head open, busted open, like the part of his head hanging while he's holding his kid. Or the situations where the IDF would get orders when Palestinians would go to get food and they were told, go here to get food or whatever, or aid or whatever the case is. And they're getting orders from the higher up to be like, when you see these people, pow them on sight. And so people are getting hit with bullets while all they're trying to do is get food to feed themselves and their family. So when you hear stories like this, of course it's going to piss me off. And that's why I see why he said what he said. But of course, what people like to do is they like to twist things and they like to say certain things because they want to fit or suit a certain narrative. And I'm glad that he came out and said what he said. And then, so, there was a fallout from a lot of that whole chanting web because everybody's reactionary, which is like his agency dropped him. Their visas for the U.S. was revoked because they wouldn't come here, I guess, and perform. So I guess in that whole sense that we have a country that's supposed to be all about free speech and all this other stuff, that y'all want to suppress actual freedom of speech, and you don't want to allow artists to be artists and express themselves and let people be aware of the genocide that's happening around the world. And then I was seeing more videos. Bob Vylan was not the only group that was out here speaking out against Palestine. There was a lot of bands that was speaking out against Palestine. There was one band that was from Australia. I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but she was up there. The girl, the lead singer, was up there talking about the atrocities that are going on. She was like, I don't even know what I'm going to say right now, but this just feels right. And so I'm just going to say it. And she was going in and letting have on the whole thing about the government and how they try to suppress people's voices and all this other stuff. And with the atrocities that's going on in with the Palestinian people. So they weren't the only ones out there, but I guess because they chanted what they chanted, they were going to get all the smoke. and all the attention and the publicity. So, in reference to the controversial Death to the IDF chant it led during the set, the group claimed in a social media post saying, quote, "We are not for the death of Jews, Arabs, or any other race or group of people. We are for the dismantling of a violent military machine. A machine whose own soldiers were told to use unnecessary lethal force against innocent civilians waiting for aid. A machine that has destroyed much of Gaza." Now, Vylan was referencing an investigation last week by Israeli publication Haaretz, which spoke to IDF officers and soldiers who said they were ordered to fire at unarmed crowds near food distribution sites in Gaza, even when no threat was present. Hundreds of Palestinians have been killed at such sites. And this is actually factual because I told her I've seen the videos and I watched other pundits, the very few that's out here, that were talking about it. Shout out to Kyle Kalinske because I feel like him and Crystal Ball and him all over there, like the only ones that really be bringing these type of stuff up. The Lightning Rod Glastonbury performance, which also saw the group repeating the inflammatory slogan from the river to the repeating the slogan. I'm taking that other word out. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, has drawn ire from many U.S. and U.K. politicians, media commentators, and Jewish organizations. Because the thing that's been pissing me off is that a lot of y'all been acting like Jews are the only ones that live in the United States. So fuck our drag, right? That's why I shout out to Zora Mamdani, who actually went to I think it was like a Haitian concert or something or another, and got up there, sock passe and all of that. The Haitians was living for it. And especially in this current situation where you have our current president trying to talk about they're going to deport hundreds of thousands of Haitians. See, I told her we in our FIFO era. My grandma now, for those of you who don't know the FIFO situation. So, as I said before, he was dropped by his reps UTA, and the U.S. has withdrawn visas for the band. Now, meanwhile, the BBC has come under great scrutiny for not shutting down the live stream of the set. And, this is all because, and I heard that they performed before Kneecap, and this was like, Kneecap were the first ones they were going after. So, they went on before Kneecap, and Kneecap's performance wasn't going to get shown. So, in a way, I'm kind of glad that he went up there and did what he did and put his career and stuff on the line. Because if you're a punk rock artist, if you are someone who is a musician, who is I'm not a pop star, I'm someone who actually comes out here and speaks out against the atrocities that's happening to the world, and I use my voice and my music to bring awareness to the atrocities that's happening, I'm not going to allow you to come up here and just determine and try to make it seem like I can't come up here and speak the truths that I should be able to speak in this situation. So now, they said that in relation to the UK's government's involvement in Israel's ongoing war in Gaza, and presumably to the vast amount of media attention focused on the band's actions, the group added today, "We, like those in the spotlight before us, are not the story. We are the distraction from the story." He's absolutely right with that. And whatever sanctions we receive will be a distraction. The government doesn't want us to ask why they remain silent in the face of this atrocity, to ask why they aren't doing more to stop the killing, to feed the starving, because they financially benefit from Israel. When you have especially let's talk about America. I don't know how it is over in the UK, so I can't speak on it. But when you have in America, when you have our current president who takes over $100 million from Miriam Adelson, because you can't take it from Sheldon, he's dead. So when you have Miriam Adelson feeding Trump over $100 million so they can continue to do what they're doing to Gaza and now the West Bank, what's he going to let them go in and let have? When you had our previous president, Joe Biden, and now we got Hakeem Jeffries and so many others who suck on AIPAC's dick, and that's a big dick because they stay with their mouth open, just taking gurgling all the balls. When you got these people out here defending them, and you got Hakeem Jeffries and them, ugly ass and crooked ass teeth tap dancing for AIPAC, and seeing the recent videos about him going hard for the Jewish community. Because when they giving you all the money you need to get, why would you fight against the establishment that's paying you to look the other way? Why would you fight that? So, and then we have very few people out here that are really out here just going against trying to fight the establishment, which would be like what? Zohran Mamdani, who I believe is going to take New York, except now we got Trump talking about he's going to revoke his status as an American citizen. I'm like, what? Boy, if you don't go play in traffic, because if that's the case, we need to get rid of Melania, stink ass. I can smell her pussy through this goddamn screen. Now, so we can get rid of her and all the people that come with her family, because how do they get their visas coming to the United States if they're not citizens? We all know that that was some sort of shenanigans and hullabaloo that was going on with that. So he said the government doesn't want us to ask why they remain silent in face of atrocity, to ask why they aren't doing more to stop the killing, to feed the starving. The performance was has drawn opprobrium from, here y'all go. It's like y'all had to go crack open a thesaurus so y'all can sound smarter than y'all actually are. So it was like some people were upset. I'll say that. Some people were upset. Then there was a lot of people in the comments that was living for what Vylan did, what the band did, and standing by, and speaking up because everybody else ain't doing it. Everybody else too scared. Some also took the opportunity to caption that both the Israeli and UK governments need to do more to end the killing in Gaza and improve the humanitarian situation. And especially when you have people out here making up lies and vitriols talking about Iran has nuclear weapons when they don't. Now, if you want to talk about Israel having nuclear weapons, yes, they do. But also, guess what? Who also has nuclear weapons? Kim Jong-un. Why y'all not fucking with Korea? I'll wait. Why y'all not messing with North Korea? Because y'all know if y'all mess with him, he gonna point the missiles towards South Korea and that shit will disappear faster than you can say free Palestine. So that's why y'all not messing with him. But it's easy to go pick on some people who don't have anything to fight back with. It's easier to do that because their lives don't matter and they don't have nothing to offer you. Except y'all coming and being the colonizers y'all are and taking their land. So I just want people to know that not all of us in America agree. Well, basically, you can pretty much tell that I don't agree with all the stuff that's going on over there based on the way I'm talking. I don't agree with a lot of the atrocities that our government aligns themselves with when it comes to foreign policy and things that happen around the world. But before I get to their full statement, let's talk about this other Palestinian that's been staying quiet. Can we get into DJ Fat Ass Khaled for 1 second and then we'll get back to Vylan? So y'all notice that old fat fuck been quiet since all of this stuff's been going on and they've been killing all his people. Well, I ain't the only one that went in and let have on his big back ass. Apparently, Dave Chappelle did too and said, DJ Khaled, let me tell you something. For a Palestinian, this man is awfully quiet right now. And as a Palestinian, how could you be that quiet right now? And why are you so fat? People are starving. He's the only fat Palestinian on earth right now. And you want to know something? He's absolutely right, because you know them Palestinians, they're over there begging to try to get something to eat. We seen they rib cages and bones and things, and now I already told y'all the next little stuff that they're doing right now is that they're, now that they've blown up there's nothing left of Gaza, everything has pretty much been leveled with bombs, and they rained enough bombs on them, and then they went, now they ain't enough, the pow-powing of the people. Now what's left? We starting to drug their aid. So now people's finding like drugs and stuff in the flour. So now y'all trying to get them doped up on drugs. But there was this video that came out in 2024. I don't know if y'all saw it, where DJ Khaled's cousin, Fady Moussalet, basically came out and said, threw some shade at his cousin. Well, look, it just goes to show that all skin folk ain't kinfolk. So we're going to play that clip. And then we'll come back and we'll get into Vylan's full side. I know this is like two different things, but I would just like, it's kind of fits in with the conversation because I'm sitting there like, how are you somebody that is a part of, like, these are your people that's being killed and you're being quiet about it? Like, make it make sense. So yeah, here's this clip and we'll come back and talk. Please hold.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, everyone has their reasons, but there's no reasons, there's no excuse when you're actually a Palestinian. You know what I mean? And for me, my mother lives there. You know what I mean? We're from the same village, same families. So like, there's no excuse. And right now, my heart and dedication is everything with Palestine. And I go there a lot. Like I said, my mother lives there. I do a lot of charity work with a lot of refugee camps there. I do a lot of fundraisers to raise money for Gaza and all the refugees and outside of Gaza in the West Bank.
So yeah, unfortunately, it's like, you know what? I guess, that cointata is more important than your people, helping and supporting your damn people. So anyway, let's get into what he said in his full statement, so that way people are aware of what he said about the whole thing and why they did what they did during that performance. So he said, today, a good many people would have you believe a punk band is the #1 threat to world peace. Last week, it was Palestine Pressure Group. The week before, it was another band. We are not for the death of Jews, Arabs, or any other race or group of people. We are for the dismantling of a violent military machine. A machine whose own soldiers were told to use unnecessary lethal force against innocent civilians waiting for aid. A machine that has destroyed much of Gaza. We, like those in the spotlight before us, are not the story. We are a distraction from the story, and whatever sanctions we receive will be a distraction. The government doesn't want us to ask why they remain silent in the face of this atrocity, to ask why they aren't doing more to stop the killing, to feed the starving. The more time they talk about Bob Vylan, the less time they spend answering for their criminal inaction. We are being targeted for speaking up. We are not the first. We will not be the last. And if you care for the sanctity of human life and freedom of speech, we urge you to speak up too. Free Palestine. So I definitely just wanted to put it out there and let y'all be aware of what they had to say. And I totally agree with everything they said in this whole situation. And as long as we have breath in our body and a voice, even if you don't have the ability and wherewithal to do so, then nobody's going to put a gun to your head and make you feel bad that you don't have the ability to do that. But as long as I got breath in my body and as long as I have a voice, I'm going to always speak out for those who don't have the ability to speak up for themselves. Because I've always been somebody that champions, the voiceless. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story in regards of what Bob Vylan had to say? Because they feel like a lot of people have hijacked their narrative and just trying to distract y'all from the atrocities that they're doing. So let's make the people that are actually making you aware of what they're doing the boogeyman, when they're the real boogeyman that's out here doing the atrocities, the real atrocities, and should be thrown under the goddamn jail. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Right. It's like, let me close that. All right. So let me see. So we got one comment. He said, I believe Bob Vylan pronounced it. Oh, is it Bob Vylan or Dylan? Okay, because I was wondering how you say that last name. It might be Bob Vylan. That actually would actually work. Bob Vylan, Bob Dylan. That makes work. That makes sense. So that's what I'll be calling him for now. All right, so let's get into this Drake story, because this was a cackle when I saw it. Drake out here with his little fake etch-a-sketch abs, and the people is out here clowning him over his new look. I was like, what was the whole purpose of you with these crazy looking abs? So now in the snapshot, the Nokia hitmaker revealed his glistening six-pack and tattoos while posing behind a stock bar. He also shared a brief video clip of himself jogging shirtless down a dark path. Well, he showed y'all the back of him. He ain't show you the front. Now, he says, I'm wide awake for the nights that separate the type who get to it till they get it right from the type who just type. What? I'm wide awake for the nights that separate the type who get it till they get it right from the type. Okay, who gives a shit? Now, he's talking about, that's what he wrote in his damn caption. But skeptical followers took to the comments to jokingly speculate how the rapper achieved his dramatically toned waistline. One person said, ordered abs from Temu and forgot to add shoulders and try. I think it meant try, what is it, triceps? But I was trying to see, and then another person said, yeah. I think they meant triceps. That's what it was. Because they put in try. I hate when y'all be abbreviating stuff. Just write the whole goddamn thing. You get a lot of words that you can put in with the social media, depending. I'm not saying you need to write a paragraph on Twitter, but you can get enough of the stuff and stop abbreviating y'all stuff. So yeah, that was one of them. Then another person said, no shoulders, no biceps, deflated chest, but extremely defined abs, LMAO. Another person said, arm definition surgery is next month. Another person said, boy, stop playing. The only place you ran was to the surgeon. Now, adding fuel to the speculation, plastic surgery Instagram account at surgeonmaid_curves reposted the photo, claiming in the caption that Drake 38 did it again. I think I did it again. I made you believe we're more than just friends. Or them abs is just fake. He said the account alleged that the Canadian rapper who consistently shares content from his workouts on social media is no stranger to the surgery table. They said, quote, this man be too hyped to show them abs/body and gives it away every single time they claim. Drake was previously labeled BBL Drizzy by fellow rapper Rick Ross following rumors the Degrassi alum underwent a Brazilian butt lift and other cosmetic procedures. Can you imagine if Drake running around with a BBL? Oh, y'all gonna hate me, but I still suck it though. I'm like, you know what? I cannot hold you. Drake can look, even with all the mess that's going on. I don't know, maybe I'm just in my fuckboy era. But that's what you give him. I'll put a bag over his head. But anyway, so then they said, but the latest shirtless selfie isn't the first time Drake has made a provocative play for attention. Ahead of rival Kendrick Lamar's show-stopping Super Bowl halftime show in February, the Hotline Bling rapper was spotted in an eyebrow-raising outfit while stepping out in Australia. The Toronto-born MC rocked a suggestive T-shirt with the words, wait till you see my, with an arrow pointing down to his privates. He added bright yellow shorts and accessorized with the blue beanie hat and blue cowboy boots for the outing to Gibney Restaurant Down Under. So I feel like, you know what, at the end of the day, Drake does all of this for some damn attention. He's in his late 30s. But I'm like, what that got to do with anything? Because first of all, it's like, okay, you're like, what, 38? Like, if you work hard enough, you can get the abs that you want. Like, don't get me wrong. If you need to get a little liposuction to define, like, certain parts of your body, then that's fine. But when y'all be doing all kinds of these weird surgeries and things, it makes your body look crazy. Where it's like, if you hunching a chick, I don't know if a chick wants to deal with a dude that got, like, some Dominican, that went down to Dominican Republic to get a Brazilian butt lift. So now your ass out here looking like Cardi B's when you got Fix-A-Flat and silicone all up in your butt cheeks. And then your abs is giving Mariah Carey Little Kim tease. So, I don't know. Maybe he likes being clown. Maybe he realizes that being corny is like entertaining. It helps him go viral. Y'all talk about him and commentate. So maybe he's doing this on purpose. Who knows? But, child, I can understand if you work hard on them damn abs, but if you went and bought them abs from Toys R Us, send them back, because you look a mess. I still hit it, though. But so I asked all of you, what do you guys think of this story, besides me being a hot-ass mess? And Drake in that fake gut he walking around with. Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments, because he definitely got Little Kim's notorious KIM abs. Look at the album cover. It's the same abs. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. All right, y'all, let's get into this next topic, which is Rosie O'Donnell going in and letting have on Jeff Bezos. Oh, thank God their tight-ass Italian wedding is over. We'll see how long that marriage lasts, because, you know, he's been with Lauren Sánchez, a.k.a. the Joker, so damn long. But at this point, it's like, you ever notice when somebody's in a relationship with someone for so long and they end up being engaged for a long period of time, and then all of a sudden they get married, and then once they get married, the marriage doesn't last? We see that happen time and time again. I just feel like that will happen. And look, if it does, we see the grift that Lauren about to put on. She's gonna be like, I want half of your money. Don't give it to her. But then again, you know what? If he lose all that money, that's good on him, because if you could afford to pay $50 million for some damn vanity wedding, then you could afford to pay half your stuff when you get a divorce. And you could afford to pay your damn taxes. So anyway, so now Rosie O'Donnell, you know, she wasn't the only one. There was a couple of celebrities that went in on their whole wedding and stuff too. But because apparently their wedding went on for 3 days in Venice, and they shut down half of Venice. And the price tag was, as I said, $50 million. But of course, you know, when you're looking at someone like Jeff Bezos, $50 million is literally like $50 to us. That's chump change. And he's apparently one of the richest men in the world, which I have to say, no shade. I don't like the whole idea of billionaires. We have way too many of them running around. I just don't understand the point of being a billionaire and having billionaire type money and access. So yeah, because he's worth $220 billion. I guess you could thank Amazon for that. But anyway, so Oprah was there, Leonardo DiCaprio was there, Orlando Bloom was there, Mick Jagger was there, Kim Kardashian was there, along with her mother. And I heard that Chris had to go beg Jeff for the other siblings to want to come. I think Kylie and not Courtney. I don't know if Courtney was there, but I did see Chloe was there. Who I just heard Chloe went and gave a whole rundown of all the surgery she had. I'm like, Frank and Hooker, you should have kept that to yourself. But anyway, so now Rosie O'Donnell, who y'all know lives in Ireland with her 12-year-old child, Clay, 5 days before Donald Trump's second inauguration as president, took to her newsletter on Substack to call out the newlyweds for their gross excess of their wedding amid the growing controversies that make up the United States government policies, as well as a star-studded list of attendees, saying, quote, "It turned my stomach seeing all these billionaires gathering in the gross excess of the." Oh yeah, Usher was there too. They said the show of it. Is Oprah friends with Jeff Bezos? Really? How is that possible? He treats his employees with disdain. By any metric, he is not a nice man, and his fake fembot wife, who looks like that. Why would he choose her after the salt of the earth, Mackenzie? Well, because when you've had she's had a whole lot of work done on that face. I remember, was she on Good Day LA at one point? And then I remember she hosted the first season of So You Think You Could Dance. Then they chopped her and brought in Cat Deely, which was the better choice because quiet as it's kept, Lauren Sánchez does not have a personality. So I don't know. Maybe she sucks maybe she can suck the chrome off a damn Chevy. Maybe that's what got Jeff Bezos all hot and bothered. It don't take much because he ain't a looker either, quiet as it's kept. So they belong together. And on the account of you bringing up Oprah, why are you surprised? The company that Oprah keeps. Tyler Perry, Harvey Weinstein, Gayle King, who else? Diddy. Need I say more? Like the type of people that Oprah surrounds herself with. Why are you surprised that she would be friends with Jeff Bezos? Like him, she speaks fluent billionaire. So why would you be surprised? You thinking all that stuff that you see with Oprah, and you get a car, you think that's really her? Because 9 times out of 10, we've all discovered. Remember when y'all all come out with this, I'm the queen of nights and all this other stuff like with Ellen, and come to find out she a bitch. But then again, you should be surprised because she's an aggressive lesbian. Of course she's a bitch. I mean, I want to no, I should take that back because I don't want y'all thinking like I think every aggressive lesbian is a see you next Tuesday. Because they're not. But Ellen is. So now the former talk show host posited that Bezos sold his soul, writing that the devil is smiling at all his conquests. She continued in part saying Bezos was raised by a single mother. He knows exactly what he does. So do all of his guests. Posing for photos, forgetting themselves in their designer outfits, ready for a Vogue cover, a spot on ET, more worthless performative nonsense. Well, yeah, the Vogue cover, speaking of Vogue cover, the word on the curb is that he paid to get Lauren Sánchez on the cover of Vogue with her wedding dress. And then it was a recent story that came out too that he was trying to buy his way into some restaurant, I think in LA, but they have a waiting list. And shout out to the man that owned the restaurant. I don't remember the name of the restaurant. But shout out to him because he's like, I don't give a good goddamn how much money you have. There's a waiting list. I'm not letting you just throw stacks up in my face or wave them in my face to try to get a seat at a table in my spot. We follow a rule and you have to follow it as well. Or we came up with the rule. You have to follow it. I don't care how much money you have. And I love that because I can't stand when people try to go around flexing their billions of dollars being like, oh, if I pay you this, would you give? No. Sorry, no. So then she also mused about how U.S. citizens will fight against the Trump administration when they have become numb to gross excess. We have learned to tolerate it, she continued. Celebrity worship, devoid of humanity, as we worship the ones hurting us, numbly asking for nothing in an American stupor of our own making. She's absolutely right with that. Okay, we don't give a shit when they got married, so I can go over, I can skip through that. They also said there was 200 of their closest family and friends. You really think that all these people are their close friends, and they're going to be there to be nosy and to be able to say, "Oh, look, I went to Jeff Bezos' wedding. Let me post it on Instagram." Now, news of their romance broke it earlier. Damn, they've been together since 2019, around the same time that Bezos announced his divorce from Mackenzie Scott after 25 years. So it would not be surprised that Lauren is the other woman, that he was probably messing with her while he was married. The former couple share 4 kids together. The former Good Day LA co-host was also divorcing her husband of nearly 14 years, Patrick Whitesell, around the same time. Sánchez has 2 kids from the Hollywood agent, as well as a son from a previous relationship with former NFL star Tony Gonzalez. Well, that vagina definitely knows how to pick them. I'll give her that. Now, O'Donnell, as I stated, well, hold on, because I have to pull up this picture for y'all. When I saw this, I'm like, girl, it might be time, daughter. Well, no, you older. So auntie, there needs to be a banning of you using Botox or whatever the case is. Because if you use any more, your face is starting to look like something out of The Substance meets Mad Magazine. Remember the guy with the big ears and the big head that be on the cover of Mad Magazine? That's what she giving. But hold on, because I got the picture. I'm going to pull it up for y'all. I was like, where I put it? Oh, yeah, I got it. What the hell is that? Like, leave the fillers and all that other stuff. You look crazy. So now, as I said before, O'Donnell isn't the first or only celebrity who voiced a negative opinion over the nuptials, although no one else managed to phrase their complaints quite so poetically. And poetically, it definitely was, because I was like, you know what, Rosie? Shout out to you and your Substack, because you definitely hit the nail on the head in regards of, like, you know, the whole overall complaint. And the way you worded it, I'm just here for it, the way you did it. So now I can't stand this bitch, but let's bring in Megyn Kelly. So, you know, Megyn Kelly eviscerated guest list for the wedding during the latest episode of her Sirius XM show, saying because that's what you do when you are Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sánchez. You invite only your close friends, Kelly said, mocking the star-studded event. You're literally one of the richest men in the world, so you made sure that you only invite the people who love you for you. You know, the people who were there before you built Amazon. What matters to them is that it's a star-studded event, not that they have dear friends who love them, standing up for them when they take the sacred vow. You know, I hate to agree with her on that, but she's right. But I guess, you know, we're allowed to agree with people on certain situations if it doesn't falter into a lot of the rhetoric that they spew regarding politics, because I do not agree with anything regarding what Megyn Kelly thinks politically. But in regards to this, it's like, yeah. So all of a sudden, you had all these celebrities that didn't know who the hell you was and probably would spit on your ass if you was on fire if you didn't own Amazon. So of course you wouldn't add it. This is all about pomp and circumstance, because if it wasn't, y'all could have just went down to the courthouse or just did something in your backyard of your mansion, had the justice of the peace come, and you could have just did like a 4-day excursion being like, oh, we're just going to invite a bunch of stars. We're going to have, we're going to go away to like a situation and we're going to celebrate the wedding. But we already got married. We just want to celebrate and have the big posh situation. That would have made more sense. But that's not what they wanted. They wanted to be in the press. They wanted to be talked about. He wanted her to be on the cover of Vogue, because the only way she's going to get on the cover of Vogue is if he pays for it. So now Old Guard star, well, I can't wait for Old Guard too, Charlize Theron reportedly made a barbed comment about the guest list during a speech at her Africa Outreach block party in Los Angeles on Saturday, which, by the way, Vin Diesel was there too. She said, quote, I think we might be the only people who did not get an invite to Bezos' wedding. To the Bezos wedding, sorry. She said, but that's okay because they suck and we're cool. Now, of course, Venice natives made their displeasure with the nuptials clear as they gathered around the city, including along the scenic canals, to protest the wedding, citing corporate greed and over-tourism. Banners that read "No Space for Bezos," a play on his space tech company Blue Origin, where they gave basically a rim job to the damn planet and then came back down in like 12 minutes. And if you can't rent Venice for your wedding, you can pay more tax, have been unfurled by activists. So yeah, I'm glad people have been out here throwing shade at Jeff Bezos and saying all the things they've been saying, because this was literally a vanity project. And I hope it was worth it, because, and it's no shade because I've made this joke many a times, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, I forget who it was. It might have been Megyn Kelly. And I agree with her on this too, or whoever said it. Jeff Bezos looks like an uncircumcised penis. Like, it literally, if you look at his neck, it looked like the foreskin on the dick was pulled down, and the head literally looks like the head of a dick. And with her, like I said, you are literally giving something out of the substance. Like, I'm Margaret Qualley. I'm trying to extend my time because, you know, I only get a week that I get to spend outside in the world before I got to go under, and you get to have your moment. And I'm taking your placenta and injecting it in my body so that way I can extend my week, and you start to look a little crazy in the face of the body. That's what this is giving. So I'll say what this is saying. What do you guys think of this story? Whatever your thoughts are on what Rosie O'Donnell had to say about the Bezoses, let me know what your thoughts are on this particular topic in the comments down below. Okay, y'all, let's get into this story. Let's talk about this Gavin, whatever his name, Gavin Smallcock. That's what we're going to call him, because I ain't never heard of him. I don't know her. All of a sudden, you got a whole lot to say about somebody. And I guess because, you know, nobody knows who Gavin is. I ain't never heard of him. I know he was a part of it. I didn't know he sang, in the words of Mariah Carey. But since he won attention, let's give it to him. So, somebody on a barrel country music star I'd never even heard of named Gavin Smallcock recently targeted Beyoncé, Queen Bee. Well, Queen Bee will always be Lil' Kim, but Beyoncé, we'll just go with that, because a Cowboy Carter album is topping his in the country music charts. Adcock put Beyoncé in the crosshairs after opining that Cowboy Carter was ahead of other records on the Apple Music country charts. One of them's Beyoncé. You can tell her we're coming for her fucking ass, he said. That shit ain't country music, and it ain't never been country music, and it ain't gonna be country music. Now, they said, see, now he's new, so that's why I ain't never heard of his ass. But they said Smallcock, who was nominated for New Male Artist of the Year at the 2025 Academy of Country Music Awards, later posted a follow-up on social media explaining the reasoning behind his words for Cowboy Carter, which took home Album of the Year at the Grammys in February. He said, I'm going to go ahead and clear this up, probably because the Beehive stung the shit out of his ass on social media. He said, when I was a little kid, my mama was blasting some Beyoncé in the car. I heard a ton of Beyoncé songs, and I actually remember her Super Bowl halftime show being pretty kick-ass back in the day. But I really don't believe her album should be labeled as country music. It doesn't sound country. It doesn't feel country. And I just don't think that people that have dedicated their whole lives to this genre and this lifestyle should have to compete or watch that album just stay at the top just because she's Beyoncé. But before I get to the rest of what was said in this article, then what about the many times you clear folks like to come over and infiltrate hip hop and R&B and a lot of our Black music spaces? When y'all are all doing other genres, and the problem that I always have with Black folk is that y'all just let anybody into the room. Y'all will sit and just open the door, open your arms with stand there with open arms, let them in, let them know our secrets, give them the ingredients to the gumbo. Then they run back and take it over to their stuff when it's not popping, like Machine Gun Kelly, like Post Malone, Jelly Roll. A lot of them, when they play into a lot of those spaces, y'all started out doing the hip hop and all this other. Now y'all go running back and doing the country music spaces, and then you're accepted. So it's okay to accept when they do it. But when Black people, who quiet as it's kept, created country, but yes, we know that it is not the overall main dominant genre of music that we do. White people, y'all, that was the one thing I was able to colonize and take as, oh, well, I guess that and rock and roll. But for the most part, that y'all dominate in those departments. But you're not going to sit up here and try to dismiss and say that Black folks do not contribute to country music. And if country music fans are liking it, Who are you to determine, newbie, what is and what isn't country? So y'all want to sit here and gatekeep what stuff is. You just started your career. Beyonce is 2 decades in. So when you get actually meet and match her where she's at career-wise and all the accolades that she's been getting and all the hard work that she's put into her career since she was a kid, then you can sit up here and determine what is what. But until then, little boy, wipe your ass, drink your liquor, sit off in the corner and sing your little honky-dory ass, tired ass music that you be singing. So yeah, now you had to come in and say, oh, because she's Beyonce, she's on the charts. So y'all get to sit and mix genres and get to be on all the different charts. But the minute Black people do it, we got to stay in our place. Oh, you shouldn't be on the chart. You should be surpassing other artists that have been bleeding and living and breathing this genre of music. But like I said before, white people just jump on stuff. All of a sudden, y'all come out with it. You've been doing a certain genre of music all your life. Then you add a little hip hop up in there. You're immediately added into the other genre. Y'all get to cross-pollinate genres, and it's not an issue. There aren't separate categories made at the Grammys whenever y'all come out and do stuff. But the minute Beyonce does it, which has happened twice, during the Renaissance era, now Cowboy Carter, now all of a sudden the Grammys want to come out with all these different categories because people don't like the fact that a Black woman is charting in genres that have been white dominated. Let's call it what it is. But y'all thinking that whenever y'all move the goalposts that we don't see through the bullshit. But like I said before, us people of color, we've been conditioned, we've been trained to see the microaggressions. We've been trained to see all the stuff, the little stunts that y'all be pulling. You don't have to say it. We see it. Your actions speak louder than the words. So now Beyonce previously explained that the idea for Cowboy Carter came to her after she went through an experience where she did not feel welcome by the country music establishment, saying that it was born out of an experience that I had years ago where I did not feel welcome. That was when she was performing with the Chicks at, I think, the CMAs. And that's the thing we do too. A lot of us people of color, when we are not given a seat at the table, we build it. So it's like we're not asking to come to get a seat at your table. And quiet as it's kept, she didn't need a seat because while y'all was sitting here, gatekeeping and snubbing her with the awards at all the country music venues or the award shows, she's out here selling out stadiums for her little residents, because that's basically what it is. When you're doing multiple stops in the stadium tour, she's basically doing a residency, which I think Atlanta is the final stop. Is it Atlanta or Texas? Might be Texas. But yeah, she's at this point. I feel like I'm not sure when she's wrapped, but I think this week is when she's done with the tour, or might be done already. So yeah, so she said that, but because of that experience, I did a deeper dive into the history of country music and studied our rich musical archive. She was likely referring to her performance of Daddy Lessons, as I said at so it was the Country Music Association Awards in 2016, alongside the Dixie Chicks, who they were back then, but now they're known as the Chicks. Now, even after she released Cowboy Carter and broke several records with the album, she was shut out of nominations for the same show, sparking backlash against the institution. Now, Small Cock, meanwhile, is gearing up for the release of his new album, My Own Worst Enemy, on August 15th. He's next slated, of course. Why am I not surprised? He's an opening act for Morgan Wallen. So why am I not surprised that that's how that's all working? On For the Singers, I'm the Problem tour in Miami Gardens and Toronto. So, yeah, that's basically the gag. And to me, this is all attention. You knew someone was going to pull up a camera and it was going to go viral and all that other stuff. But quiet as it's kept, no one cares what some drunken bitter bum that probably smells like rotten eggs and fried bologna thinks about Beyonce's album. Because per usual, we have some wetback colonizer trying to tell people what is and what isn't considered country music. And just like these so-called country artists mixing genres in their music, like I've been saying before, a lot of you white people that go around and y'all be mixing genres from the Post Malones to the Jelly Rolls and beyond. Beyonce has done the same thing. So at the end of the day, you don't get to determine what country music is when you didn't create the genre. You colonized it. And if country artists can embody and can bringing hip hop, which that was kind of started around the era of like Nelly working with Tim McGraw and so many other people. Like this was happening like for the past 2 decades that there's been the mixing of genres and stuff, especially when you're doing that crossover with the country and the hip hop and stuff. And for you to come over here and just get all mad because a black woman is doing country better than you. And to me, it's like, what is country music? Like I can take the foundation of country and do whatever the hell I want to do with it. If I've grown up listening to the music and I like the music, but I want to make it a country record, but how I would do it, then that's what she did. But a lot of y'all want to go up in here and say that this is what country music is, and this is what it needs to sound like, and it can't evolve, and it needs to be this, and that's that. Well, then you do that. But you don't get to tell me what I get to do with my music, and especially a genre of music, the sandbox, whatever you want to call it, that I'm playing in. So I'll say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding this nobody? I ain't never heard of him and what he had to say about Beyonce. So now he coming for her. Well, good luck, because I don't know how you gonna come for her. She got the album's doing what it's doing on the charts. She won the awards that she won. She's getting the accolades that she's getting. And yeah, y'all can continue to gatekeep, do whatever. It's just like, but you're not gonna stop her from doing what she wants to do as an artist. So when you get her coins, when you have her power, when you have her influence, and when you have her staying power of being how long she's been in the music industry, then little boy, you can get up here and talk yo shit. But until then, she'll stank swamp ass smelling behind down. So now I want to hear from y'all. Let me relax. Let me calm down. Like, woosah, woosah. I definitely want to hear from y'all. So let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below. All right. You said they really got not these clear folks. How do you transition from disco to country? Easy. And it wasn't months. It was years. I mean, it's not that hard to transition to do different genres of music. Do you think that every time Madonna released an album, it was the same record that she released every year? She just crossed genres. When she did Ray of Light was an electronic album. It had like trance, it had all these different sounds in it. Music had electronic elements, but it also had, country and all those, and folk music and all that other stuff. Confessions on the Dance Floor was a dance record. So every time you come out with an album, if you have the inspiration, if you have the creativity, you can create different genres of music. It's not that hard. It doesn't even take long to make a record, to be honest. But you can transition and do different albums every year. There's artists who do it all the time. There's those who just sit and do the same record over and over and over and over and over, regurgitate the same thing. And then there's people that, try different sounds. Okay, I need to calm down from that one because I was getting heated. But look, let's get into this topic because it looked like while Beyonce out here not paying no attention to that old clear person, him hating on the fact that she got a country record out and he trying to tell us what is and what isn't country music, Jay-Z out here losing cases because according to reports, they said that his suit against Tony Buzbee. Oh, excuse me. What's going on my nose today? My freaking allergies. His case against Tony Buzbee has been thrown out. Now, Jay-Z suffered a major legal blow on Monday after LA County Judge Mark Epstein dismissed his extortion and defamation case against Texas lawyer Tony Buzbee. In the ruling obtained by Rolling Stone, Epstein admitted he was not fully happy with his decision and suggested the Court of Appeal would determine whether he was correct. Saying, quote, there is no demand for a particular sum of money, although that is not enough to protect the letters. The real problem for Carter is that the mediation request is about the SA allegations underpinning a potential civil case and nothing else. There is no extraneous allegations as to publicize other unrelated and unsavory things related to Carter, and there are no promises to refrain from going to law enforcement if Carter agrees to mediate and does settle. This is what Epstein wrote in his ruling. He continued by saying the following. He said, quote, while it is true that the alleged conduct here constitutes criminal activity, defendants fall well short of threatening to go to the police unless Carter pays up. Selling silence as to law enforcement for money is extortion. But there is no promise of silence in the criminal context here, and selling silence for money in the civil context is not extortion. It is a settlement with a non-disclosure agreement. or non-disclosure element, I should say. Now, I know some people are out here, well, I should post it because Tony Buzbee did put out a tweet. He said, yet another huge win. John Doe's case against me and the Buzbee law firm alleging extortion and defamation was thrown out by the court. As I said, wait, hold on, because I got to actually open it. I didn't realize that it's a lot longer. It said, as I said when it was filed, the case was completely meritless. We will now seek attorney's fees against John Doe for bringing the legally flawed case. And I guess John Doe would be Jay-Z. Now, what people need to realize is, like, why is he suing Tony Buzbee? So Buzbee previously represented a Jane Doe who actually accused Jay-Z and Diddy of R-wording her at a party in New York City when she was 13. I think that was the 13-year-old that was, damn, I'm trying to figure out what the word. It was I think it was the one that was at the VMA's after party. And some people saying, well, girl, how did you get up in here? But that's neither here nor there. The fact of the matter was, this girl saying that she was abused. Now, after the anonymous woman dropped the case last year, Jay went after Buzbee. He claimed the lawyer allegedly tried to extort him with the case, saying, we are surprised and disappointed by the ruling, which turns on the misapplication of California law on the admissibility of the investigator's statement. Alex Spiro told Rolling Stone in a statement. Notably, the judge expressly states that his decision would have changed dramatically if he had admitted the statements into evidence, as they would have shown not only that Carter had nothing to do with any SA on Doe, but that Buzbee knew it, and thus the court would come out of the way on this motion. So, I did hear that Jay-Z's people are planning on appealing the situation, but I do feel like it is kind of crazy, though, that he's out here trying to say, oh, yeah, he basically, you were trying to, basically at the end of the, I feel like what you were trying to do, you were trying to shut up Tony. The judge was looking at it as like, this is just not making sense to me. So, yeah, I'm just not, like, it's just not going to work. So, you were trying to shut him up. You were trying to say that he was trying to extort you for money. There was no evidence of that happening, because I feel like if there was some type of extortion or whatever the case was, then where is the evidence to prove that? Like, there would be some type of email, there would be some type of text, there would be something. So this is a strike one on Jay-Z team in his situation. So he'll figure it out. I mean, like you said, he's going to appeal it, but I doubt that, it'll work. But I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? I just say, let it go, chill. Now, I don't know what's going to proceed. I mean, I guess because the girl dropped the case, a lot of people probably say who was paid off, or she was paid off. That's probably why she dropped it. I mean, I don't know if that happened, but that's always the main go-to with us, is that we think that, okay, if the person didn't, then they probably, they probably ended up getting a payout. But I'll definitely keep abreast of this story, because I'm sure there's going to be more regarding this. But in the meantime, let me know what your thoughts on this story in the comments down below. Okay, so let me close that. All right, y'all, let's get into some more messy news. And let's talk about Miss Remy Ma, because apparently she out here trying to fight the damn daughter of the man who apparently her son took his life. So things got heated outside the courthouse in New York City between Remy and the daughter of the man her son is accused of unaliving, to the point that Remy actually ended up getting detained by the police. And I got the video and stuff, so we're going to play that in a second, but let me just set the scene. So now Remy is returning to headlines, but not because of her beef with her estranged husband, Papoose, and his new boo, boxer Clarissa Shields. I hope they ain't go to social media and start talking their mess. Just leave it alone. This ain't got nothing to do with y'all. Now, this time, the conceited rapper got into a heated altercation outside the courthouse with the daughter of the man her son is charged for unaliving, and it was all caught on camera. Now, to catch all of y'all up, for those of you who have not been paying attention to this story, Remy's 23-year-old son Jason Scott, I wonder if that was the one that kind of was resenting her because, when she went off to jail for stabbing that girl because she owed her money in the club. Remember that? And then she did, what was it? 7 years in prison. I do wonder if like this is a result of that. But anyway, he was accused of fatally pow-powing Darius Gillibo on June 7, 2021 in Queens after a dispute. The 47-year-old sustained multiple gunshot wounds to the head and chest, per the NYPD, and Jason was arrested, on June 2024. He was charged with the murder in the first degree, murder in the second degree, 4 counts of criminal possession of a weapon, and reckless endangerment in the first degree. Richard Swigert was also arrested for his alleged connection to Gillibo's death per page 6. The outlet was also reported that someone allegedly hired Swigert and Jason to take the life of Gillibo. So they said it was a setup. Now, Remy's legal, or they was assassins, basically. So they said that Remy Ma's legal team are committed to to proving her son's innocent, but that didn't stop tempers from flaring. The rapper got into a heated verbal confrontation with a woman named Jasmine Dior, who says she's Gillibo's daughter. In early June, video of their spat, including the woman threatening to beat Remy Ma up too, and Remy encouraging her to beat me up as she rushed down the court steps, quickly went viral late June 30th. Girl, you cannot be out here in these streets fighting folks. And then in another clip, they basically was calling each other ugly and said, and Dior allegedly wearing a fake watch, and they were just, just reading each other. But I do have the clip, because, we got to have a receipt when we're on this show. So hold on, let me pull that up. And we'll come back and then we'll talk. Please hold.
Right now. Right now, ugly. Everything. Oh, you thought you was going to see something ugly, bitch. You wasn't. But you wasn't. Same here. You see what's up? Same here. You see what's up? Oh, okay.
So, yeah, this raggedy ass fucking bitch, Remy, like, girl, like, you would have thought I did something to you. Realistically, I can never speak to my father again. I can never hug him. I can never kiss him. I can never say nothing else to him. You can see your son. You can speak to him. You can hug on him. You can say whatever. The fact of the matter is that I see this fucking lady, and she's looking at me with a whole attitude. When I tell y'all ice grilling, as if her son was the victim. Like, miss, where's your remorse? Like, where's your sorriness? Where's your sadness? Like, at the end of the day, I don't care what I go through with nobody. I would never want to see nobody die. I don't give a fuck about none of that. Like, bitch, nobody did nothing to you. You fucking
Test right now.
Right now, ugly gremlin. And you really acting like you mad about something. Ice grilling somebody, ugly ass. Then you acting tough in front of a courthouse. Like, bitch, we're gonna go to jail. You've been to jail before. I'm sure you don't want to go back, bitch. Like, what are we doing here? Come around the corner. You're really not fucking tough. Like, bitch is mad pussy. Like, gremlin. And you really acting like you mad about something. Ice grilling somebody, ugly ass. Then you acting tough in front of a.
Yeah, so she goes and talks about how she's hiding behind her lawyer and all the other stuff. That is such an old school New York term, ice grilling. I was like, girl, you'll be here using the thing. But yeah, that's just crazy. Remy, girl, like you can't be out here just getting in fights and stuff with people. You got to take the high road in that situation. Let people just. I mean, I don't know who started what, but when it comes to stuff like this, you just got to let it roll off your back. You got to walk away, mind your business, go in, do what you got to do, be there as a, rep your son. Even though, he's out here committing a crime, but y'all know at the end of the day, people, like, whether or not your son is a stone cold killer or he's, just a regular schmegular person that was detained for no reason, you want to support your child regardless, even though you don't agree what they was doing. And you can see the picture on the right, she was put in handcuffs. But which was a picture that Dior later posted online. And according to the report, she said, "You would have thought I did something to you. Realistically, we already heard her say that, so we don't need to read it." Now, Dior broke her silence about the altercation, alleging Remy approached. Okay, so now we know what happened. Remy approached her first with hostility and attitude while attempting to escalate things physically, as if I was the one who had done something wrong. She added how Remy's son is being charged with murdering my father in a cold-blooded, premeditated act. I came to court for justice and healing, not confrontation or disrespect. Her behavior only added more trauma to an already unbearable experience. So I'm grieving a loss that cannot be replaced, and I will not allow anyone to shift blame or act like my pain is anything less than valid. As of this writing, Remy has not addressed the dispute directly, but did post an Instagram carousel showing off her outfit, seemingly unbothered with the caption saying, quote, a few hours later, ... on Monday, June 30th. And Jason, often referred to as Jace for short, has appeared in several episodes of VH1's Love and Hip Hop New York and Remy and Papoose Meet the Mackies alongside his mother in 2018. So, Remy, if you out here getting mad at the daughter whose father was killed by your son, to me that's just dumb. Like, do I need to quote your line? You stupid motherfucker, you dumb. You know, when she was like, hee-haw, when they be doing a donkey of the day. It's just like, I'm gonna use that against you if this turns out to be true. Because it's just like, how you getting mad at the daughter who's there to see justice if this turns out to be true, when you need to be mad at your son for doing something stupid like taking somebody's life? Because if he did do it, yes, he needs to spend however much they plan on giving him, which would probably be the rest of his damn life, in prison. So that's what you need to be mad at. Or mad at the fact it was like, what did I do? How did I fail as a mother that my son is in the predicament that he's in? Do we blame the mother for how her child turned out? I mean, at one point, he was, like I said earlier, he was kind of blaming her because it was like them years she went away to jail for something dumb, stabbing somebody over some money in a club. That's a crucial moment where your son is missing out on, or you're missing out on your child's life, and the fact that he doesn't have his mother there for him. So kids get caught up, they act up, and all the other stuff. Funny enough, why is it that I'm getting comments from Robert about Megan on Remy and stuff in a group chat when I'm talking about it on here? But anyway, so yeah. I'll say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story in regards to this whole mess that's going on with Remy Ma? It's like, girl, get it together. It seemed like you had just been crashing out since Papoose ended up with that boxer. And it's like, you don't know what to do with yourself at this point. So I definitely want to hear from you regarding this story. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Okay, y'all. How many more topics we got? And then we're done with today's show. Okay, we got about we got about 3 more topics. Okay, so we have 3 more topics left to the end of the show. So before we get to those topics, if you please do me a solid, hit that like button. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And also be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. As y'all know, every day I say it, I'm going to say it again because I got to be on point with what I'm doing. So after the live stream, I will be putting in timestamps so that way y'all can follow along with the show instead of having to sit through all the banter that we do during the live, which hasn't been a lot today. Maybe because y'all not feeling these topics. I don't know. I'm just saying. So without further ado, let's get into this Kim Zolciak story where Ariana Bierman went on Watch What Happens Live and was spilling tea about her mother, even going to the fact of saying that she is literally out here supporting her mother financially and that she pays her back when she can, and said that she also helps support her siblings financially. Where they do that at? So I do have that clip. Shout out to the Neighborhood Talk, by the way. We'll play that of her being on Watch What Happens Live, and we'll come back and talk. Please hold.
Mom ask you to purchase specific things?
The only time my mom asks me for money is if it's regarding the bills or it's something that she needs for the kids, and then she pays me back when she can.
There were rumors about your mom's gambling. Anything you can say there?
No. Talk to
Okay.
him about that.
Does this stuff happen with Brielle as well?
The taking of like our money growing up? Yeah.
Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Aye. How do you because she's your best friend, your mom, and we see her later in the season. How do you reconcile that with your relationship with her?
I think that, nobody wants to be put in situations that they are put into. And my mom, no matter what, will be my best friend forever. Money should never ruin a relationship with your family. You can always make more money.
That's right.
And God blesses us in that way. And I have my mom, and that's all that matters.
How is your relationship with Croy these days?
I think it goes in waves. It depends on what motion he's filing throughout this insane divorce this week. And
Because he legally adopted you, didn't he? Right.
He'll always be my dad, you know, no matter what. I think that it's just a tough situation right now because I think a lot of these things are just coming from more anger and like nothing else.
Your mom ask you to purchase specific things?
The only time my mom asks me for money is if it's regarding.
Yeah, so basically it's like, I guess Croy is not messing with her anymore because of Kim and whatever all the stuff that Kim put him through. But sir, you made your bed. It's kind of like Simon Gabati and Portia. It's like y'all need to take responsibility for y'all part in the situation of being in a relationship with someone who basically sucked y'all dry. And we all know that Kim is a succubus. So, and shout out to Phaedra, who was up in there wigging on out with that blonde. But the people in the comments said this. You said you couldn't pay me to speak on my mother. Another person said, fun fact, Ariana's boyfriend is a billionaire. Kim ain't slick. Well, that's his money. That don't necessarily mean she's getting, money from her billionaire boyfriend. Ariana has a lot of endorsement deals and things like that, and now she's the new reality star. So she's financially benefiting. And then Kim, like, to me, I get it. On one hand, it's like, I'm all for supporting and helping out if I can, if my parents need it. But it's a difference when it's I feel like it's a difference when you're like a regular schmegular person and you have, your mother's a single mom. She has a lot of kids and she's struggling to pay the bills. And then you, as like the eldest in the household, is helping out financially. I get if that's the direction you want to go. But Kim got the ability to get up off her ass and make some money. Why isn't she trying to call up Andy and be like, can I get on a reality show or something? Like, the only thing she can't be out here doing is some damn surreal life. That was the last time we seen her on our screen. And I guess, like they said, with Next Gen NYC, they need her to like pop up on the show so they can have their little interaction. But let's read what the people in the comments said. So one person said, YT people don't mind telling their business, LOL. Another person said, her honesty is actually refreshing in the reality TV world. Another person said, Kim probably told her it's okay to tell their business so she can try to get her peach back. Another person said, it's Kim, not Croy. We watched it. Another person said, Ariana's boyfriend is a billionaire. His grandfather is the owner and creator of Zaxby's. Kim is very much intentional and knows what she is doing by asking her daughter for money. I just hope it doesn't break their relationship in the long run. Side note, shout out to her boyfriend for checking her about her finances. He is a smart man for setting this boundary because most likely she will be his wife one day. One person said, this is the type of YT people drama I like. And so it seemed like everybody's perfectly okay with Ariana supporting her family financially. I don't know. I feel a little old school about it because I'm like, if you're old enough to lay there and have all them damn kids, to live the life of luxury, to be in that big old mansion that y'all just got evicted from, by the way, and try to live this whole fairy tale lifestyle, then you should be able to get up off your behind and restart yourself, like start over and try to do what you got to do to support your family. Because, like, could you imagine as a grown woman, a 46-year-old grown woman, because I believe she's 46 or 47, asking your daughter, can you loan me $20,000? Because I gotta take care of this, that, and the other, and I'll pay you back. Like, to me, that'd be embarrassing. But you know, Kim ain't got no shame with the stuff that she does. So, you know, maybe, yeah. I just think like that's just I guess that's the thing with her. Like, this is no shame in her. So she don't care. But girl, you need to get up off your ass and figure out how you need to support your kids in your situation. How you gonna stand up on your own 2 feet and not be dependent on your child to be taking care of affairs that you should be taking care of because you the one decided to lay down and have 4 kids with Croy. I would say 6, but the other 2 are grown. So Ariana can take care of herself. Brielle, I'm sure, is taking care of herself. But if you do have a gambling problem, then you need to figure out how to make that, stop getting caught up in that and work on your own stuff. So I still just say, what do you guys think of this story? Because to me, I'm just like, I guess it's good grist for the mill. It's entertaining. But to me, that's highly embarrassing that you out here having to depend on your child to support you financially. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. I don't know if I want to imagine it. Imagine Kim coming back to Real Housewives of Atlanta. You know what? There was a lot of reasons. Well, there was a lot of talk about, well, they need to bring Kim back, whatever the case is. I don't know if she would want to do it, but she thought she was too big for the show when she got with Croy. Now look at you. No, because she was on the show even when Kim left, long before Nene left. I think Nene got tired of all the shenanigans that was going on behind the scenes, and that was during the COVID period because they had to film via Zoom, and I guess Nene didn't like how everybody was coming at her, and she went and closed that laptop, which pissed Andy off, and that was that. Yeah, I heard that she was there. So it's like, yeah, well, look, a lot of when you talk about it, she's signing deals or whatever and doing stuff with Amazon. That was the whole point of, like, even though I don't like Megyn Kelly, she had a valid point in what she said regarding, like if it was really about your friends and family, that's who you would have invited, but you was inviting celebrities because you knew if it was just your regular friends and family there, then the New York Post, People, Deadline, Variety, all the big trades, all the big, all the big majors would not, Extra, Access Hollywood and all of them, they wouldn't have talked about your situation. They wouldn't have talked about your wedding. So you knew what y'all was doing. I mean, why spend $50 million just for regular people to show up? Okay, y'all. So let's get into this. Some Drag Race news, because Naysha Lopez had to go in on the messy asses over there at the No Gorge podcast, or as I would like to call the Heckle and Jekyll of drag, Vylan Chachki and Got Mick, because they wound up saying that the Drag Race girls go onto their show to basically violate their NDAs, and Naysha Lopez did not like pretty much what they had to say on that. So now RuPaul's Drag Race Superstars Vylan Chachki and Got Mick released a spicy new episode of No Gorge on their joint podcast on Thursday, June 26th. While the two drag artists explore various topics on this new episode, certain negative remarks from the episode are making the rounds within the Drag Race fandom and queendom. For instance, this new No Gorge episode featured Violet bringing up different tangents related to her season 7 co-stars like Trixie Mattel, Katya, and Ginger Minj. Meanwhile, Gottmik gets candid about her Snatch Game winning impersonation of Paris Hilton. There's also a surprising and random mention of Roscoe's Tavern, a prominent queer venue in Chicago that's been a staple of the LGBTQ plus community since 1987 that comes up in the No Gorge episode. Now, after catching one of the comments made by Violet and Gottmik about Roscoe's, Naysha Lopez made space in the All-Stars 10 episode non-viewing party live stream to defend the venue and clap back at the comments made on No Gorge. And we do have a clip of that, but we'll get that to the second. But in the meantime, let me just give y'all the whole background. So, in the episode, they started talking about that Gottmik is, I guess, going to be going to Australia because there's like this Snatch Game live on tour thing that's going to be happening. That was the one that but they said this June, so it may have happened already. But Alaska was supposed to be a part of it, but remember, she had put out an announcement that she dropped out, which had some people thinking she was part of All Stars 11 or she's doing All Winter. I don't know. They thought she was doing All Stars, whatever. Turns out she's not doing it because Alaska believes that World of Wonder has an issue with her because she does the podcast with Willem. But anyway, the people that were on that tour in Australia includes Hannah Conda as Liza Minnelli, Jimbo as Shirley Temple, Jujubee as Eartha Kitt, Pythia as Zeus, Tia Coffey as Anne Boleyn, and Trinity the Tuck as Caitlyn Jenner. And Reese Nicholson, who is a Down Under judge, is hosting the event. So she's going to go on this whole thing about Paris Hilton, but we don't care about that because I just think that I just don't think Gottmik is all that amazing. I mean, she gives the fashions, but besides that, there's nothing behind those, the overall looks. It's like, where's the personality? She has her moments, but She really doesn't do it for me. But anyway, so then Violet started talking about the complaints that she was having because she said, damn, everybody's coming at her wanting to talk about Ginger Minge, even her barber, who she said is a gay bear. But she was like, look, it's been 11 years since season 7, but because there's drama going on the show, they want to talk about it. And so then Gottmik is like, what's the tea? What's the drama? And Violet was like, the drama's about Ginger. I can't even, it's so annoying. And Vanjie actually got Mick a clip of it the other day, and she said she was scared because she was like, why did you send this to me? Because she never sends me drag race stuff, and was like, am I mentioning the whole situation? Was Denali going off on Roscoe's or something? And then Violet and Got Mick basically started talking about the viewing parties at Roscoe's, and once they realized that the clip for Roscoe's had nothing to do with No Gorge or any of them, because quiet as it's kept, who's talking about Violet Chachki and Got Big? Y'all not doing nothing exciting for people to even talk about y'all anyway. But the thing is, y'all always end up in the news because y'all always talking shit about other people. So that's the only thing. Especially when what was it? Violet had made a little snide comment the other day, I guess, about the season 17 girls, which they ate her up on social media. So there was a situation going on with that. So it's always like you sticking your foot in your mouth in a lot of situations. That's the only time that Violet goes viral. So now they said that while Gottmik appears to be avoiding the conversation, the season 13 finalists and All-Stars non-contestant circles back to that discourse right away, saying, quote, I mean, that actually needs to be studied. Some of the girls are ready to risk it all, saying that, when you go on Roscoe's, the girls are willing to risk their entire careers and stuff going on the show. And they said, risk it all to sit on a fucking patio chair at some fucking bar. Well, guess what? That fucking patio chair at some fucking bar, a lot of fans like going there to see their favorite drag race girls spill tea about what's going on the show and to actually redeem themselves. Because when you're not getting a sense of who these people are beyond the edit, the show allows them, Roscoe's allows them to do that. So you to kind of dismiss it as that when quiet as it's kept, once upon a time, not long ago, your ass was on the show too, Violet, and I'm sure Gottmik has been on the show too. So let's not try to act like y'all ain't never stepped foot in Roscoe's and sat in a damn chair and spilled tea about y'all times on Drag Race or just responding to, the show in general, even if you wasn't on the season. So they also said, they also wanted to say the co-hosts speak over each other during the next 2 seconds, but Violet alleges that the queens accept these invitations, even though the bar is monetizing boots on the tea they're spilling through the Roscoe's viewing party live streams and doesn't pay them to monetize. It's wild. Which, of course, when we get into what Naysha had to say, I don't know if people notice, but the girls actually get paid to go on these shows. So they get compensated. But I guess what they're trying to say is, so they don't get to monetize all this stuff that they're spilling. Yeah, you're going on this show, speaking about the show. So yeah, if you're going on a Roscoe's viewing party, they should be able to financially benefit from these people going on. To me, when I look at Roscoe's, it is what I called the last time we talked about them. It is basically the Watch What Happens Live for drag queens. Because if you go and watch what happens live, you ain't getting to sit down and talk about what's going on. You got to stand behind a damn bar like you just some random guest. While the far less talented people, them damn housewives, get to sit in the chair talking about a bunch of damn nothing. So Roscoe's has created a place where these girls can come and vent and speak their mind and tell their side of the story within reason. Because I'm sure they're not out here violating their NDAs, and I'm sure you know that as well. So now, Gottmik circles back to the argument that queens are ready to risk it all by taking these viewing party gigs at Roscoe's, saying literally stop risking your careers for Roscoe's. The season 13 star declares before bursting out laughing. Stop risking your career for Roscoe's. Violet agrees. We should make t-shirts. Then they start laughing. And then Violet goes and reveals that she's catching strays online because of social media getting mad at Ginger and all this other stuff, probably saying that, you know what, and I think this is because I was saying the same thing. A lot of people feel that season 7, Ginger should have won that season, but I don't know, for whatever reason, y'all gave it to Violet. Because when you look, I was gonna say, to be honest, that whole season was kind of dry. No shade, but just saying. Season 7 was kind of dry. It was mid. We all know, like, based over it was a lot of performance challenges and stuff. And Ginger definitely did her big one on there. But to me, it's like when you've done the show 4 times, and I think now people are kind of feeling, you know what? And I also kind of feel bad now because of the way the producers have been playing this ugly game during bracket 3. I feel like now you've got a lot of people who are hating on Ginger because of how producers have made it obvious. And I think that's the conversation we should be having. We know shows are produced. We know that when you watch a reality show, because you have to produce it. Hence why they have producers producing a show. You need to produce. But the fact of the matter is, Joe Schmo should not be able to know what y'all doing regarding putting this show together. It should be obvious to the viewer, to a regular viewer, that production totally was behind that. It didn't even feel organic. It didn't even feel natural. That was definitely forced by production. Like, you could definitely tell in certain parts. Y'all not even trying to hide y'all bias. So that's when it becomes a problem for people. Okay, so now, so she told about the whole thing with that, and she said people are basically tagging me, or I'm seeing stuff saying that I shouldn't have won season 7. Well, as a kid, you shouldn't, even though you do bring the fashions, but they voted the way they voted. It is what it is. 10 or 11 years ago, and that she, Ginger, should have won. Even though Violet seems annoyed at the algorithm showing her more Drag Race stuff, you know, the show that actually put her ass on the map, because quiet as kept, ain't nobody knew who the hell Violet Chachki was before she even got on Drag Race. Gottmik hilariously interrupts Violet to ask if Ginger was on her original season, and yes, she was. I don't know how you didn't know. Well, I guess maybe I mean, who's required? I guess I wouldn't go too hard on somebody, because it's like, who would actually remember? I don't remember everybody who was on whose season. So yeah, she was on there. She was on there. Pearl was on there. Remember, do I have something on my face? Remember that iconic line she said to RuPaul? So yeah, they were all on the show. Speaking of which, they was all the top. They were the top 3. It was Pearl, Ginger Minge, and Violet. And so then Gottmik asked who else was in the top 3, and then that's what she said. Yeah, it was Pearl, and then and they mentioned all that other stuff. So now, then she also went in on Trixie and Katya. Yeah, it was a lot in that episode. She went on Trixie and Katya and was getting mad because, you know, well, I don't know if anybody knows, but Trixie and Katya, I believe, are rewatching season 7. And said basically that the invitation from them was weird because they had their assistant send a DM asking me if I would send them a voice recording. And she was like, what the fuck? You guys call me. You have my fucking phone. And Violet asked, have your assistant reach out when you're friends with somebody. It's so like, who do you think you are, girl? Text me. No, they do it all the time, Gottmik responds, and I think they're probably forced against their will. Then Violet says, it's so weird. I would never have my assistant or producer reach out to someone I consider a friend. It's so weird. Anyways, well, I don't know. Maybe they don't consider you a friend. Maybe you need to define what a friend is, niece. Now let's get to what Naysha Lopez had to say. So I know it was a lot. I had to set all that up because it was a lot that went on in that episode. So now, towards the end of the viewing party, in which you had to pretty much pay for, but thank God clips exist on social media. So, and Alyssa Hunter and Queen Kong were the guests that was on there. And that was like, I think it happened after the latest episode that No Gorge was released on YouTube, because they usually release theirs, I think, on Friday. They film it on Friday. And then I think it drops when it drops. I think Monday or whatever. But anyway, so they said, hold on, because I do have that clip courtesy of Instagram. We're gonna pull that up for y'all to watch, and then we'll come back and we'll talk. Peace out.
We're giving you a platform to be yourself, to tell your side, and if the show did not highlight who you are as the person,
hold on, let me see if it goes.
Platform to be yourself, to tell your side. And if the show did not highlight who you are as the person, I'm glad that for 2 hours and 30 minutes, you can do it right here at Roscoe's.
It's very true. There are a lot of girls that have come here to have conversation and redemption and just, you know, even Phoenix was one of them. She, you know, yes.
No one is here because they're forced to. Every single girl from the last season, it has now become I got on Drag Race. When do I go to Roscoe's? It's a thing. It is a thing. Now, no disrespect, to Violet and her little minion at all. I wouldn't be a drag queen if I don't throw a little bit of shade. No disrespect. But listen, when you're going to say little things like this, mean what you say and say what you mean. Don't imply, because that's just lying. And not to mention, have we had them on this stage?
Yeah, they were
yes,
here once.
we have. They've been through Roscoe's. They've been here. They know what's up. And I'll tell you this right now. We are one of the only bars that, baby, that check is lovely. Let me tell you. Roscoe's knows every single girl's worth. They don't play with it. It's not up for discussion. It's not something that needs to be negotiated. We know who you are. We value you. We value your talent. And we appreciate you coming here and giving us the tea and having a good time. And guess what? We're going to continue to do so respectfully. Period. We're giving you.
Okay, so there you have it. But she also, because they didn't play that part, because she said, "Oh, Joseph side." I've been calling them Tweedledee and Tweedledum, and I could really go in, but I won't do that. I'm talking about Violet and Got Mick, two of the nicest queens from RuPaul's Drag Race. They have a podcast. They do a thing, blah blah blah, whatever. And they were saying that they don't understand why queens risk their entire careers and come on Roscoe's and give the tea and this and that and blah blah blah. So, that was the part that they had mentioned in that whole situation. And they said this is the best place you could ever work. Every single queen that works here is treated like the queen if they are. The implication that they're coming here and we're making money off of them. Baby, every single one of these people up in here is getting a check. Every single person is getting paid. Now, for someone to say, why would you risk your career given the tea? Correct me if I'm wrong on the numbers, but I'm going to say about 90-95% of the girls that have ever been on Drag Race come through this stage and not one career has been ruined. Not one. And this goes for every single person that says, I talk too much, because yes, I do. She said, but if you notice, whenever I interject or start talking about something, it's because they, pointing to Alyssa and Queen, to Queen Kong, to illustrate the point, the queens starring in ongoing seasons are likely limited within the scope of what they can and cannot say. She said, well, we have the girls up in here. I tell them what they can't say and how they should word it, their opinions, their feelings. I've been on the show. I've read their contract and I know what you can and cannot do. We're aware of it. You are not at risk for losing your career. On the contrary, we're giving you a platform to be yourself, to tell your side. And if the show did not highlight who you are as a person, I'm glad that for 2 hours and 30 minutes, you can do it right here, which they cut down in the regular video to damn 45 minutes. But he also said that as the audience clapped, Batty Davis said that many queens have gotten redemption from the fandom by appearing on Roscoe's, saying no one is here because they're forced to. Naisha points out every single girl from last season has now become, I got on Drag Race, when do I go to Roscoe's? It's a thing. So, and that's when she went into the other video that y'all actually saw. So that was all the pre-stuff before we got to that other part. But funny enough, I did read some of the comments, and Eureka O'Hara jumped in the comments and didn't seem like she was all too happy with what Naisha said. So one person, before we get to what Eureka said, she said, one person said, if you're not watching Roscoe's viewing parties, you're only getting half the story. Ha ha ha. Trying to basically call it untucked. So here's what Eureka said. She said, girl, this is so random and not true. They booked Sean, that apparently is the GM, favorites, and the current season girls, and that's it. Just like every other venue, let's see the earlier season dolls or the big girls on stage. Just saying, that's not on a current season. Girl, bye. Yeah, well, if you do notice, they do just have, they do be having, you don't be saying, well, it's not necessarily true, because sometimes they'll bring people who are not on the show. Like they've had, what was it? Was it this season? No, I think it was season 17. Kennedy Davenport wasn't on the show. They had her on. So they do book some of the girls that are not on the seasons. But they was eating up in the comments. One person said, are you okay? Another person said, bye. Another person said, you don't count on what they're saying. You don't count on what they're saying. You know why, LOL. And Yeah, that's basically what they said. And then I guess one person said, I mean, what Vi and Mick said what has some merit because they want the girls to have their own platform to spill their own tea themselves and monetize it. What they fail to see is that most girls don't really have the means to. So Roscoe's is a great venue for it. And you also have to think about this, is that when you say what they fail to see is that most girls don't really have the means to, that a lot of queens aren't like Mistress Isabel Brooks or a Bob and Monet or a Alaska and Willem or a Roscoe's or I guess a Gottmik and Violet, where they have the ability and the wherewithal, or even a Deja Scott, because Deja Scott got a YouTube channel. It's like not everybody has the ability to get up on YouTube and take the time and the wherewithal to create content that way. And even most recently, Corey King. Not everybody has the ability to get up there and do that. Some people have to rely on going on other platforms to be able to get attention or to get their side of the story. Now, there's a lot of you girls who just, y'all look great gowns, beautiful gowns. A lot of y'all don't have the personality. So maybe that's how you think, but not everybody thinks the way you think. And I'm glad you were able to parlay a career into being an artist and all the other stuff, but not everybody, like I said, has the ability to do so. Hence why some of them have to go on Roscoe so they could reach a bigger audience instead of trying to build an audience and only have 10 people watching a damn show. And they go over to the other show and they let their voices be heard. So I definitely want to, speaking of voices be heard, I want to hear y'all voices. So what do you guys think of this story regarding what is being said regarding all the other stuff that Gottmik and them had to say, and then Naisha Lopez clapping back on what Gottmik and Violet said regarding Roscoe's and people basically risking their careers in NDAs for going on there and spilling tea about what's going on with Drag Race. And the one who really be going in and letting have is Naisha, because I don't think Naisha has any interest of going back to Drag Race. So her being on that little villain role, similar to Willem, they get to, you could have them be the bad guy and spill the tea while your careers go unscathed. They don't mind doing it. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Yeah, I'm particularly careful. I told her, yeah, I remember we did an event at the Big Apple Circus, and we did like I think it was through Voss Events, by the way. So Voss Events ended up going and doing an event with Big Apple Circus, and Bianca Del Rio was the MC. Violet Chachki was one of the circus performers, and yeah, her energy was very much like, "Don't look at me, don't talk to me, like just acting like I don't know, like you just stuck up." Like her energy very much gave that. Yeah, I just don't. Yeah, I'm still scratching my head as to how she got that. How she won. You said, "I love Violet, but even this rubbed me the wrong way. She thinks she's so much better than the show now, and the backlash they got from Fashion Photo Review got to them." Yeah, and that's what I said. And you know what? That's spot on. And that's why I don't particularly care for Gottmik too, because Gottmik definitely gives me airhead. Gottmik gives me like you acting like her lapdog. Like, do you have a mind of your own? You just kind of just like you just give dents. I mean, at least, funny enough, you used to work with Paris Hilton. You impersonate her, but Paris Hilton plays dumb. She's actually not dumb. You give me like you're really dumb in real life. So, that's why I don't like her, because you just like follow behind everything that Violet does, and I believe that's also going to hurt you in the long run. And Violet does act like she act like her shit don't stink. She act like she better than the damn show. And it's like, girl, nobody knew who the hell you was before you even jumped on Drag Race. So if you to walk around with this attitude, you need to tread lightly. Yeah, that's what I said. That and birds with and look, she's still owe a friend of my money that worked her event. Apparently, the bitch don't like paying the artists that work her events. He said Jordan has been on the show 3 times in the last 4 years, which is why I feel she was asked back for All Stars 2 years in a row. A lot of queens from the show don't watch the show. I know Mistress doesn't, and the twins from season 15 doesn't. I wish I didn't know who Shangela was. Quiet as a skimp. He said, "Did you see the Italian contestant or Global All Stars try to get Queen Kong disqualified for bullying? This whole cast was filled with chop holes and was." I think I did hear that story. Any film with Charlize Theron is banned on Prime Video and to purchase on Amazon. She's banned from anything Jeff Bezos related. He's reported to be okay. Well, he'll be all right. Charlize, she'd be like, well, fuck him. I'm at Netflix any damn way. So she got a new movie coming out, Old Guard 2 with Netflix. You think she need Amazon? She probably like, Jeff can kiss my ass, and I look better than your wife, and didn't have to get surgery in order to look good. That's an old South African blood. But anyway, so okay. All right. Okay, y'all, let's get to our final topic. Let's get into this All-Stars 11 news. So look, I know All-Stars 10 was still knee-deep in it. We haven't even gotten to the semifinals of All-Stars 10. And now it seems like, that there's already talk of All-Stars 11. Because apparently the list of queens as a part of the show has leaked. I mean, I think we've all kind of been, well, those of us who've been on Reddit and been paying attention kind of knew the girls that was going to be a part of it. But, so now the Nancy Drews of drag are always hard at work tracking social media inactivity to try to piece together what queens might be on the next cast, and All Stars 11 is being filmed as we speak. Now, while this is all alleged right now, we all know if you watch Drag Race that these leaks usually get, well, first of all, they spell leaks like Nene Leaks. I'm like Leaks. Usually get the leak cast nearly spot on. So this All Stars 11 rundown may very well come to fruition. So for those of y'all who are probably wondering, they are keeping the tournament format, which I think is a good format that they need to stick with, but just throw a couple of twists and turns in there every now and again. I think that's what they should do in regards of the show. So that way, if y'all do that, then we could definitely keep our eyes on. I mean, I just feel like I like the format. I like the whole bracket format that they've been doing. Maybe they can probably do a couple of twists. You know how like you could just to keep people on their toes. Like it's not 110% going to be the full 3 bracket thing, but we're going to throw a couple of curveballs and all this other stuff in there just to keep the show excited. Because the problem when you do a lot of these shows is that once the girls get wind of what y'all doing, then they're like, oh, well, we know how the game is played, so it just makes it easier for them. But you always got to find a way to twist things for, our entertainment. So now, without further ado in their entertainment, let's get into the girls who allegedly are on season 11. So let's get into bracket 1. So the first queen that they mentioned is Akira C. Davenport, who was on season 11 and All-Stars 6. Now, the body is not only here, but also back for the 3rd time. The latest queen to triple-time Drag Race by maybe returning to All-Stars 11 is Akira C. Davenport. Akira bodied, pun intended, season 11 and made the final 4, but when she returned for All-Stars 6, couldn't get out of her own head, even choosing not to return to lip sync in the season's Game Within a Game. Could All-Stars 11 be Akira's time for the crown? Well, yeah, I did watch All-Stars 6 not too long ago, and she was a mess in that season. Now, the next queen that they have is Dawn, who is a part of season 16. Wake up, motherfuckers, because it's Dawn, the sharp-tongued lady, shady elf / baddie from season 16, who was famously assassinated by Morphine Love Dion in 6th place of season 16. Remember that? Could be set for a workroom return. Now, despite turning out 3 gag-worthy design challenge looks and excelling in a number of other challenges, Dawn never snatched the win. But there's always a new day, a new dawn, a new day, it's a new light. Now, the next queen in bracket 1 is none other than Lucky Stars, which I'm actually happy if this turns out to be true. Wink, wink, nod, nod. That Lucky Stars comes back. To me, she needs her pork chop redemption, similar to Irene the Alien. I'm also hoping, since they're filming it as we speak, that she will have sort of a redemption like Irene the Alien, meaning that she makes it to the semifinals, or at least not that she excels good enough that she does well during her bracket. So, because I saw the potential in Lucky Stars, and you know what? I'm really rooting for her because she was the only queen from her season that actually, when, me going to the premiere and stuff, that she was the only queen that followed me back after posting the pictures of them ungrateful bitches on my damn social media. But you know, when I was taking all the photos and stuff. So yeah, she was the only one that followed me back. So that's another reason why I'm going a little extra hard on rooting for Lucky Stars. But yeah, she was season 15's Pork Chop Queen. And oh wait, not season 15. She was what season are we in? Season 17. I was like season 15. Season 17. She was season 17's Pork Chop Queen. And so yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to her and seeing what she could bring in regards to the looks and everything into the challenges when she comes. Now the next queen that we got, why you mad though? Why you mad though? Our girl Morgan McMichaels, who still to this day looks good for a dead bitch. And you know, she was a part of season 2 in All Stars 3. She was eliminated in 8th place way back on season 2 of RuPaul's Drag Race, and then 1st and then 5th on All Stars 3, because remember, she was eliminated, then she was brought back, and then she was eliminated the next challenge. And, you know, they said that Morgan is one fierce queen, and her downfall on All Stars 3 has given her strategy away too freely. Lesson learned? Hope not. Yeah, because when she was like, oh yeah, this is how I'm going to vote, it's like, girl, don't let them girls know how you're going to vote. Be diplomatic. Now, the next queen that they brought up is season 16 queen, Morphine Love Dion, whose drag mother is actually on season 18. That is the next season we're going into, right? It's so many goddamn numbers. It's hard for me to keep track of what season we in again of RuPaul's Drag Race. Now, remember how we said that Dawn was sent home on season 16 by a baddie with a BBL named Morphine Love Dion? Well, according to the internet sleuths, it's time for another hit, because Morphine, you know, never quite snatched a challenge win. Although she win, wasn't she like the lip sync assassin? Didn't she win the, what was it? The Lollapalooza lip sync smackdown? She won that. So, and she did win. You know, she was in the top 2 of the season political performance challenge. So Morphine is definitely that girl. It'll be great to see how she evolves since, you know, her season. Now, remember when, you know, we had Morgan and Michaels? I guess we should have brought up, like, in season 2, Morgan and Michaels got into it with a chick by the name of Mystique Summers. Well, guess what? That bitch who's from Chicago is apparently coming on the show. Well, this will be interesting because her and Morgan is in the same bracket. Allegedly. So yeah, so now they're saying like Mystique Summers, formerly with Madison on the N, appeared in season 2 and was eliminated in 10th place. She also, remember, she had the famous line, "Bitch, I'm from Chicago," and all that other stuff. When she got into it with Morgan and Michael, she was like, "Get out my face, you in my mug, you're in my space." That whole situation. So if this is bracket 1, this will be relatively interesting. But I think that when we look at someone like Mystique and Morgan, I feel like they've matured in a lot of ways. So I don't think it'll be okay. I don't think it'll be too bad in regards of like them coming on. It's kind of like when Coco Montrese and Alyssa Edwards kind of came back. It was like, no, we've actually grown. We're not letting that stuff bother us anymore. We let bygones be bygones. We moved on, that whole sort of thing. So we're not going to keep trying to drag this into the ground. And so I'm hoping that's what it is, unless y'all willing to bring the drama on this upcoming season. Now let's get into bracket 2, where our girl April Carrion from season 6. They said it was a tough gig appearing on season 6 of Drag Race with juggernauts like Bianca Del Rio, Adora Delano, and Courtney X in the cast. Yeah, there was a lot of strong contestants on season 6. That's like one of my favorite seasons, by the way. But April Carrion, she actually did, she did well enough. Carrion, however, probably best known for telling RuPaul that she was meant to win All Stars 2, and that she was 9 seasons of the spinoff ago. So what? She was 9 seasons and that was 9 seasons of the spinoff ago. So she should easily be able to snatch the crown. Okay, wrote this. And then we have, although I find her remotely boring. But hopefully you step it up in this season. Aura Mayari. So they said her dead dad is going, no, not Deadline. Not her dead dad is going to haunt us all. Moon Goddess Aura Mayari is rumored to be back on All Stars 11 after winning one challenge. And then, yeah, because after that one challenge, she had to sashay away in the next episode. Now, Mayari won the season's girl group challenge and then hit the house in 11th place. So now our next queen that's going to be in bracket 2 is Crystal Method from season 12. Now, if the casting rumors are true, and if we had Diabetica, of course, it shouldn't be that hard that we would get anything in the middle of the night. El DeBarge herself, Crystal Method. Now, Crystal reached the top 3 of her season alongside Gigi Good and Jada Essence Hall, which I already know Jada ended up winning the show. Snatched the challenge win and Hearts of America in the world along the way. Also part of, the challenge, the second bracket with her new body. Selena S. Titties from season 15, the 6th place diva from season 15 of RuPaul's Drag Race. Selena S. Titties is rumored to be returning for All Stars 11, and Ross Matthews better be ready. Selena didn't nab a win on her season, but did snatch the golden boot, though we're not sure that's a compliment. Oh yeah, because she was a mess. Regardless, she was a fan favorite, and if the rumors are true, it's sure to be again. Now I'm living for her. And speaking of new bodies, let's talk about Miss Silky Nutmeg Ganache, who was from season 11, All Stars 6. I believe that's what they meant to write. Yeah, it was season 11, All Stars 6, and Canada versus the World season 1. Now, becoming one of the burgeoning number of queens to return to Drag Race 4 times, Silky Nutmeg Ganache made the final on season 11, dropped the ball on All-Star 6, and then made the final on Canada versus the World. Yeah, because All-Star 6, I felt, in my opinion, I think Silky let the drama of the fandom, the toxic fandom, get to her. And I felt like she was suppressing who she really was. Like, remember when she was on her season, Silky didn't give a good goddamn. Silky was out here being crazy. She was over the top. She was being messy. She was an attention whore. And it was rubbing a lot of the fans the wrong way because they felt like it was just a lie. And maybe y'all social batteries getting worn out just by watching her on y'all TV screens. So then when she did All Stars, I did feel like she wasn't at 100%. She was given, I felt like, out of 100% battery, you were running on 35. And I feel like that hurt her. Because I felt like I think Silky just got too much in her head, and she allowed the fandom to get to her. So hopefully, if you're going to be on this show, you're going to crunch and munch your way all the way to the finale and really just be your authentic self and not give a good goddamn what these other girls and the people online think about you. Like, really just go in and do the challenges and show out on the show. Now, speaking of icons, Mother has returned because allegedly Vivacious from season 6, our last reigning club kid queen, is rumored to be on the upcoming season. Because she only did 2 episodes in season 6. And remember, she also popped up on, what was the season where Ariana Grande came out in the whole Ornacia outfit? So yeah, she that was the last time we saw her. Okay, so now let's get into bracket 3, which the first queen will be Hershey LaCour Jeté from season 16. Well, I don't feel like she brought her A game, but hopefully she does in the new season. I always like watching All Star because I want to see the glow up. Like, did they really grow from their time being on Drag Race? So they said for the first time in Drag Race history, there are rumored to be 2 pork chops on one season of All Stars, with season 16's Hershey LaCour Jeté listed for All Stars 11. The sweetest queen of season 16 enamored viewers, but her runways in the season ball were enough to land her in the bottom 2. Yeah, because them looks were just not it. Now, another queen that's supposed to be on the bracket, but in bracket 3, allegedly, will be Jasmine Kennedy from season 14. Now, Miss Mouth Almighty, Jasmine Kennedy, turned the party in several blazing roles on television on season 14, with help from All Stars 10 Diabetica. Now, since season 14, where Jasmine placed in 8th, she has come out as transgender and with the authenticity could easily storm a hypothetical All-Stars return. Our next queen, she's a gay-ass bitch. She's Joey J. Now, the first contestant to ever appear on RuPaul's Drag Race that was a homosexual is Joey J, and she may be back again. Another fairly low placer on the original season, Joey was eliminated in 12th, but is A, a real hottie out of drag, and B, far too talented for that placement. So we'll see how she brings it. So now we have, speaking of Kennedy Davenport, she's another name that's being thrown in the ring as being on this upcoming season, who was a part of season 7, All Stars 3, and Canada versus the World season 2. another one who is a four-timer on Drag Race. Kennedy Davenport has now made 3 finales in her Drag Race career and is looking to make one more should she be on All Stars 11. Kennedy has also appeared on RuPaul's Drag Race Live Las Vegas show in between stints in various workrooms. She also knows the game, and anyone playing it with a drag titan should be wary because, and you know, she is a pageant girl. She is someone who's very competitive, and she's a seasoned queen. So I would love to see someone like Kennedy Davenport in the finale or make it the semifinals. Now, you know, this year we have Lydia Butthole Collins from season 17. Well, next year, All Stars 11 has a season 17 queen by the name of Sam Starr. Saying they come back for All Stars awfully quickly these days, don't they? Now, Sam Starr, season 17's finalist and Triple Challenge winner, drag family member of Trinity the Tuck, etc., is rumored to be back. To be honest, there wasn't more that Sam could have done to try to snatch the crown on season 17, a part of not being put up against On Your Nerve. And we imagine that Nerve won't be on All Stars anytime soon. Well, she doesn't need to go, quiet as is kept. Unless they do an all-winner season, I could definitely see her being a part of that. Then I could see, you know, all that stuff. But now, last but certainly not least, season 11 queen Sugarcane. Now, they said the final diva to add a bit of sweetness to the rumored All Stars 11 cast, the season 11 Sugarcane. Eliminated in 7th place without a challenge win, Sugarcane made her mark on the judging panel and audiences alike, leaving everyone with a sweet tooth. So yeah, I'm actually digging this these lists of queens so far. Now, in regards to who I would like to see in the finale, well, if we're talking about like making it into the semifinals for that Lollapalooza, SmackDown, whatever you want to call it, I would love to see Kennedy Davenport in the finale. I would definitely love to see Morphine in the finale because she definitely knows how to perform on stage. Sam Starr is cute or whatever, but it's like whatever. I don't see Joey J making it into the semifinals. Jasmine Kennedy, I love her, but I don't know if I gotta see how well, like, if she's, depending on what the challenges are, if she has what it takes. But I don't know if I see her making it all the way to the semifinals either. I don't see Hershey the Court Jete making it. Vivacious, entertaining, but I don't know if I see her all the way in that whole situation. I could definitely see Silky making it to the semifinals. Selena Estides, I would have to, I don't know. I've never seen her win a challenge, so I don't know if she would make it. I would definitely like to see Crystal Method in the semifinals. Or Mayari, I don't definitely see her making it. I could definitely see April Carrion working hard enough to get there. I could definitely see Mystique. I could definitely see, as I said, Morphine. I could definitely see Morgan pushing her way into, because she's a seasoned queen. I could definitely see her doing that. I would love to be surprised and see if Lucky Stars could do it. And Akira and Dawn, well, I think I definitely could see Akira because Akira is somebody who definitely is talented and, you know, performs her ass off. If she don't get in her head, I could definitely see her making it all the way to the semifinals. So, yeah, so there you have it. Those are the list of queens, allegedly, that are going to be on this upcoming RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 11. So the question remains from, you know, if you believe the sleuths over there on Reddit, do y'all believe that this is the queens that's going to be on this upcoming season? I don't know, something on my eye. But do y'all believe that this is a legit list? I mean, 9 times out of 10, when it comes to the internet sleuths and things of that nature, people compiling a list, it always turns out that in the end, those girls happen to be on the show. So they haven't seen us wrong yet. So I'm going to go with a strong, I believe the list. I mean, some of the names on there, I have heard that they're actually shooting the show. So I believe it. So I want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. All right, let me see, because I got to scroll up. Like you said, I said I didn't know the cast of spoilers for my next All-Star season, but I do know my favorite from season 15 and 17 is on there. I also heard a rumor that a queen from this season's bracket that didn't make it to the semifinals was asked for this season's. Wait, who was that? I don't think it was the straight one, right? I kind of wonder why Akira is coming back when she gave up and didn't do the lip sync against Silky. Probably because she was beating herself up for quitting. So that's probably why she's like, you know what? I got to come back and redeem myself. Akira was so over it, and apparently they knew that what a waste it was, and that Silky was winning the lip syncs. Yeah, it was just, and you know what, it just felt a little, because to be honest, when I remember I went back recently and watched that episode, Silky was sloppy with a lot of her lip syncing in that performance. But I mean, the whole thing, and that was the Barbie girl episode that she decided not to do, which was hilarious, by the way. But it definitely felt like, okay, the producers doing their thing. We see, y'all doing this for entertainment purposes. And so I was just like, what was the point? What is the point of like putting yourself in this whole situation when you already see what the season is given? So if I agree, if I was a character, I'd be over it too. It's like, you know what, fuck it, I'm not doing this foolishness because I see what y'all doing. So that game within a game thing was just dumb. I just feel like this bracket thing that they're doing, it kind of fits. And it makes sense. And I'm wondering now that Jessica Wilde has seen the episodes and understands this damn bracket, if she'll even decide to come back on. But she said that she's been busy doing a whole lot of other stuff. So she's not really interested in coming back at the moment doing Drag Race. Like, she's got other things going on. Same with Lucky, with my favorites for season 17. I definitely see Lucky getting her Irene glow. I hope so, as long as they don't give her a design. Well, I think she could do a design challenge. The problem with Lucky was that Lucky stepped outside of her comfort zone too quick. Like, we get if you want to switch it up and do something else, which is always what usually the contradictor and ass judges be asking. You always kind of get this eye or this wig or this particular look, even though that's your signature. But I want you to kind of give us something different. I want to see if you could do glam. I want to see if you could do this. I want to see, but Lucky did that too early. It's like, let people get to know who you are and what your artistry and your overall look and stuff is before you decide to go in. I'm gonna wear this flat wig. I'm gonna go off and do this whole, Mary Magdalene, demure mindful look. Like, that wasn't you, and that's why I think she screwed herself in the end. So she shot her wad too early instead of giving a little foreplay. You said Morphine won she won the Lollapalooza. So I would like to see her in that whole assassin lip sync Lollapalooza situation. Yeah, she definitely lost a lot of weight, because when I was looking at the pictures it's funny, I wanted to bring up the Instagrams, but that would have been a lot of a headache, me trying to concentrate on what I was going to say versus popping up all the pictures. So I was like, let me just use this regular, collage of photos and to just talk. But yeah, she lost a lot of weight. There's a lot of girls that was on the that lost a lot of weight. Silky lost a lot of weight too. Yeah, season 15. It says Silky was overconfident in season 11. On All Star 6, she was feeling the hate of the fan. Absolutely. And that's why I said that's what held her back. And I feel like that's what screwed her in the end. You was dealing with a lot of the fandom hate. And I think when you went in, you got in your head worrying about the fandom and trying to produce yourself. And that's a mistake. You can't be going on here trying to produce this image that people are like, girl, we know that's not you. I love Vivacious. I hope she could prove to be more than just a running gag and meme. Yeah, I would like to see Vivacious make it far in the show and show her glow up and not be beyond, but I guess when you haven't seen somebody in so long, you kind of just are stuck mentally where they were when they did the show. So it's like, I would love to see her glow up in her evolution. Season 15 first episode, Vivacious came in the second oh yeah. That was the first episode was Ariana Grande. Someone said Warner Brothers will merge with Universal. I said I need Warner to be audited. I bet you Warner never recovered after that disaster. Well, I don't know what's going on with Warner Brothers right now. I mean, they're going back to changing names. We was Max, we was HBO Max, now we Max, then we HBO Max again. So I don't know what's going on with Warner Brothers right now. The only thing I know about is this carrot that Trump is dangling over the head of Paramount, because they're trying to get their whole situation going. So I wanted her to win season 17, but I knew she wasn't. Well, yeah, I knew. Well, first of all, I knew it was going to be on your nerve. I just felt in my gut that it was going to be on your nerve that was going to win the show. But I am excited to see Sam on the show again. Kennedy's fashion is questionable. Although she looks, and I will say that she smelled good too when she was at when I ran into her at the season 17, where I was like, oh, she smelled good. I was because she was standing next to me a lot, I was like, she smelled good. So I was salivating and all that fragrance she had on. And I like the gown she had on. He said, oh, you said Morphine, Dawn, Lucky. Oh, you talking about the ones you think is going to make it from each bracket? That would have been so easier for me. You would be like Morphine, Dawn, and Lucky. Crystal, Vivacious, Sam. Wait, oh, you said Kennedy, Crystal, Vivacious, and Sam and Jasmine are the only two I like from bracket 3. Yeah. I'm hoping that we don't have a bracket that's going to be similar to like bracket 3. Like, we don't need a dry bracket. So hopefully, the girls will be bringing something. I just want to let you know that I turned the volume for most of the topic and only turned it up when I assumed you would talk about the queens I already knew. I really don't want to know spoilers anymore. He says Sam has also been very active on social media that I would have never guessed that she went to go film. They were saying that Susie Toot was on the season because her social media wasn't active. So they probably made a mistake. Maybe it wasn't Sam. Maybe it's Susie Toot. So I don't think it's, we could take it with a grain of salt. Some of them are accurate, some of them are not. But they think when people aren't on social media for a long period of time that they go on the show. You also need to realize that last month was Pride Month. So a lot of people were doing a lot of club gigs and things of that nature, making their money. So there's also that. But anyway, all right, y'all. So we're at the end of today's show. I want to thank you all for tuning in to the latest episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. So before we go, or you go, can you please do me a solid? Hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And also be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. I'll be back tomorrow with a brand new episode of the show. I was like, I keep checking these texts because I'm thinking, am I going to get covered? I mean, am I going to actually be working tomorrow? But I don't think I am, because I heard it's going to be a double header with City Field. But that's fine if I don't get called in, because I told you I gotta go to DMV tomorrow because I have to get this freaking card, whatever, this real ID. I wonder how much they cost. I have to look that up. Because I have no idea how much that is going to cost me or whatever the case is. I think it's, what is it? I think it says $30. I'm fine. On top of normal transaction fees. So I hope they're not going to charge me on top of the $30. But yeah, so yeah, when you said I got a real ID to vote in the election, yours is free. I don't know, I have to see, because I'm just don't understand how they tell me, depending, like, oh, it's this different price or that different price, but they saying $30. But I'm like, if I have a regular ID, I just have to get it transferred over to a real ID because they're making a big deal about it. What I need to get is a passport. That's what I really have to get right now, but it is what it is. So yeah, who knows? By the time I get done with that, and then I got to come and put the show together and all that stuff, it might be another late show tomorrow. So love you all for watching. Thank you all for tuning in to the latest episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Hit that follow, hit that like, please subscribe, please share, do all that other stuff. It definitely helps with the show and my cointadas that I get monthly from the YouTube and things of that nature. So love you all for watching. Thank you all for tuning in. And until next time, ciao, darlings.